All right. There we go. Everybody's freaking out from the clapping. What's up, everybody? How's it going out there? How's my audio? My audio working? Video working? All right. All right, I'm back, guys. It's been like 4 months since I've done a proper live stream. It's been a long time. We're gonna get into all that. It's nice to see you guys. What's up, everybody in the chat? Lots of good things coming. Like always, lots of good things to come. We got the chat's going crazy right now. What's up, everybody? How many people we got watching? Make sure to share this because you know YouTube will not. Let's jump into it. It's been 3 or 4 months since I've done. It might be 4 months since I've done a proper live stream. I did one with Stan Efferding the other day. That was pretty cool. Stan Efferding, the Rhino, 52 years old, jackeder, stronger, more athletic than I've ever been in my life. We talked all about what is going on as far as putting on muscle. Talked about his vertical diet. That was pretty fun. But today, finally got another solo stream. We haven't done one of these in a long time. So if you guys got any videos you want us to watch, if you got any topics you want us to hit on, feel free to throw out them super chats. The chat is going pretty fast now, so it's hard to obviously can't respond to everything. But if you got any questions, we could do a little Q&A today. I'm going to start out by talking about why I haven't been live for the last 4 months. Why I have not gone live. So let's get into that. Let me pull up the evidence here. Where'd it go? All right. So here's what happened. About 4 months ago, our channel got nailed. Our channel got completely nailed with a fallacious copyright claim. And what do you know? It was from a vegan. Who here is surprised that a vegan would go and fallaciously claim a copyright strike on my video? Who would have ever thought? So I did a video a long time ago called Joey Carbstrong, Dangerous Vegan Soypremacist, where we talked about Joey Carbstrong, who is a international vegan white soypremacist, promoting the end of all animal foods, promoting the end of what he calls animal agriculture, right? He wants us to all eat a plant-based diet. He is Joey's a young man out of Australia, grew up on the mean streets of the suburbs of Australia, says he was a former gang member, he went to prison, and he ended up having a conversion experience. He ended up having a religious conversion to veganism. He had a religious conversion to veganism, and now all of his guilt, all of his shame is put behind him. And he gets to project all that guilt, all that shame, all that self-hatred, all that self-loathing onto the rest of the world and try to convert you all to veganism. So on this video, which was actually a pretty funny video, we watched some clips of Joey Carbstrong, who's just, he's one of the most, he's a pretty interesting vegan activist to watch. He's interesting in many regards. First of all, he's interesting because he's always got these crazy, wild, manic eyes, right? Joey's got this full-on manic vibe about him all the time, like he's just about to snap, right? He's got this vibe. I don't know if you've ever, and I know a lot of people who are ex-junkies who are got their shit together, right? I know a lot of people who are ex-meth heads who are like really cool people. It doesn't seem to affect them much at all. But there's a certain type of ex-junkie that gets this vibe where you look into their eyes, you're having a conversation with them, and they're barely there. And it's like they're trying to hold back the crazy all the time, right? Like they're trying to project this image like, I'm not fucking nuts. I swear, I'm not fucking nuts. He's got that kind of vibe, which makes him really funny and comical. He's constantly in this state of agitation, talking about the rape and murder of the animals, and eggs are murdered, and if you drink milk, it's rape. It's terrible. So he's just got that vibe, right? Like that consistent vibe, like he's trying to project an image of, I'm not crazy, I'm not fucking crazy. So we watched that video and it was really, really funny. Right? We watched a few other videos of Joey Carbstrong, did some critiques. About 15 or 20 minutes in to the video, I pulled up an image, a single image. It's an image of Joey Carbstrong on stage wearing his shirt that says vegan power, right? Like we said, vegan. He's a vegan white soypremacist, Joey. So he's wearing this white shirt that says vegan power on it. And he's doing like a Hitler pose, his arms up in the air, he's screaming, he's got the nuttiness that you see of these vegans on stage when they're all hyped up, feeding off of the energy, vampirically of all these duped people in the audience. And Joey was hyped up in this photo, and it's a really funny picture. If you do a quick search for Joey Carbstrong vegan power, you're gonna find this very image that I showed on the screen for less than 5 seconds. Less than 5 seconds this was on the screen. Well, I got hit with a copyright strike like 6 months after. Like 6 months after the fact, somebody went through the YouTube dashboard and put a fake copyright claim on my video. So, it was this gentleman. He's got a YouTube channel too. Calls himself Animal Rights Photography. Doesn't have any videos with him in it. He sells some sort of a animal rights photography calendar with 12 pictures of piglets dead or something, and the slaughterhouse porn pictures or whatever it is that these kooky ass kinky vegans are into. And so this guy hit me with a copyright strike. So it took me a while to actually figure out who it was who gave me the copyright strike. At first I figured it was Carbstrong, right? I thought it was Joey Carbstrong. So it turned out to not be Joey Carbstrong. Through talking on the YouTube dashboard in the back end, I was able to find out that it was somebody called Animal Rights Photography. So I've muted out I've blacked out their email, so I'm not, illegally disclosing anybody's information. I'm not doxing anybody. I don't even know who this dude is. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I don't know if it's a Zer. I don't know if this could be a trans vegan like myself. But I'm assuming this is a vegan, Animal Rights Photography, and this is the emails. This is what went down. This is why you haven't seen me for about 4 months now on YouTube. But wait, the story gets even better. So I sent them an email. I said, "Hello, I received a copyright claim on a video and a subsequent strike. I would greatly appreciate if you would let me know which content you claimed was copyrighted. It was a live stream where we discussed many different videos on YouTube, nothing violating the copyright laws. I would greatly appreciate if you would remove the copyright claim, and I would gladly remove the video myself if you feel there's an issue. This negatively affects my standing with YouTube and harms our family business. Let me know how I can amend this and move forward." All right, so I'm trying to make amends. I'm trying to atone for my sins against veganity. I'm trying to play nice. I'm trying to see what the hell this person's all about. And they responded. Luckily, within, I think it was a day. Let's see, the 11th of July. Then they responded on the 11th of July. So they responded about 6 hours later. "Hello. It is disappointing that YouTube failed to communicate the details of the matter with you. Your video, entitled Joey Carbstrong, Dangerous Vegan Supremacist, Useful Idiot, contains a photograph of Joey Carbstrong that was shot by Animal Rights Photography, ARP. ARP owns the copyright to this image. You used it on your video and also as the thumbnail without permission, hence the copyright claim." So I forgot. I actually did use it as a thumbnail because I like the vibe of the image, right? So I used it as a thumbnail. All right, now let's move on to the next image. Let's see. Sorry. Now, I use a PC to stream, and I'm not used to PCs, guys. I'm just not used to these PCs. All right. Exhibit B. Responded to him. "Thanks for getting back to me. I will gladly remove the video and thumbnail if you would please retract your copyright claim." Right? "I'll take the video down, dude." What I planned on doing was take it down, remove the image from the video, and then put it back up, right? Tell him, was honest with him. I said, "I'll take the video down if you remove the copyright claim," right? The copyright claim, which I had already filed a dispute on. Like when you get a copyright claim, you can file a dispute. The person has 10 business days. I think it's 10 business days or working days or whatever YouTube calls it. 10 business days to prove that they're going to press charges against you, that they're going to take legal action against you. And if they don't prove that they're taking legal action against you, YouTube will reinstate the video. So I started the process of that. And in the meantime, I just wanted to see exactly what this guy wanted. What is he going to do? All right, so here's his response after I responded to him. Or actually, there's one more email from me. I said to clarify, the image was from a vegan news site, Veg News. And this image is everywhere. This image is on like every single vegan news organization website. Plant-Based News uses it. And Klaus from Plant-Based News uses it. everybody uses this image on their feminine vegan YouTube channels, and when they're talking about Jerry Carbstrong. So, I mean, everybody uses the damn image, right? VegNews.com. That's where I got it from. They didn't cite where they got the image from. This image is on about 20 different websites. I think it's also on metro.uk. So it's everywhere. Right? I said, apologies for not crediting you for that image. I didn't see a copyright and assumed it was okay to use, since so many news sites also use it. I have no problem removing it for you. It is only used in the thumbnail. Not sure if I use it in the video at all. I will gladly remove the video if you prefer, or I will just change the preview image if that's sufficient, and would greatly appreciate if you'd remove the copyright strike claim with YouTube. It's very easy to retract the claim. So, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, 4 days later, still hasn't responded to me. All right, getting a little annoyed here. See what's going on. Finally, July 18th, he responds. Remember, this all started many days before this. I think it had already been like a week at this point. Hello, apologies for the slow response. I assume this guy's British, so I should probably do it in an English accent, right? Because all these degenerate vegan activists are all either out of the UK or the UK's vassal states, like Australia. And it's like, hello, apologies for the slow response. The image was used both as a thumbnail and again during the video at 5 minutes 35 seconds. If you would like to come to an arrangement, I think the removal of the video and $500 for past use of the image would be fair. $500 this dude wanted from me. This guy wanted $500. All right, so at this point, it's gone from being a simple copyright claim to being full-on extortion. Full-on extortion. Damn, the chat's going crazy. What's up, everyone? We got 250 people in here. What's happening, guys? So, at this point, I'd already had live streaming turned off for a whole week. I had been doing 2 to 3 live streams a week. Actually, the revenue from those live streams was decent. At that time, we had a few very, very generous people who would like to throw out them super chats, who really enjoy the work that we do here, and who like to support the work that we do. Right? Informing people on how to live a healthy lifestyle, informing people on the importance of animal foods, informing people on what is actually going on with this agenda to remove our ability to feed ourselves off of our own land. And so it was kind of a bummer. It's like, shit, I really like doing these live streams, right? I mean, sometimes in these live streams, people are dropping $100 super chats, right? People are stoked on what's going on here. And I was kind of bummed, right? So, all right. Well, now it's gone from vegan haters trying to give a false copyright claim, which will surely be overturned, to vegan haters putting on a false copyright claim, but also trying to extort me for $500 for the use of an image that's all over the internet, that everybody uses for free. So a little bit annoyed at this point, right? A little bit annoyed. Kind of sketchy. All right, so tries to extort me for $500, and I responded to him. I mean, if this was somebody like in front of your face, it'd be a very different thing, right? Like nobody's going to try to extort you for $500 like this in the real world. It's only in the cyber world where people LARP as activists online, where they're able to pull some stupid pussy ass shit like this. So I said, that's almost what I make in a single month from all my videos on YouTube, which is true. My revenue on YouTube has been cut by more than 70% over the last year. Even though I've got far more viewers, even though I put out a lot more content, even though I get way more views than I did a few years ago, my revenue has been slashed, right? So not only we got all the homies are in the chat. We got Jay, we got Hesher, we got Bobby. What's up, everybody? People are asking if I'm natty. Still claiming natty. That's Hench Fartivore. He's just joking. Obviously, I'm not on steroids, dude. Like, any 18-year-old kid who's lifted for a couple years could achieve a look like this. Like, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder or anything. You can definitely get this physique without drugs. Anybody who thinks you can't is nuts. Right? Jay's saying open up memberships on your YouTube. I'm going to do that, Jay. I've also, yeah, good idea, man. So anyways, speaking of, all right, the revenues dropped. Look, I don't do this for the money. Right? But we put a lot of time into this. Right? Now, we do coaching services. We do have products that we sell. Right? I've got a very, very high demand for coaching. We do a monthly keto and carnivore collective, which we just started the other day. So, right, this is part of our career. This is part of what we do is media outreach using YouTube. Okay? Now, of course, it's kind of a bummer that the YouTube revenue goes down. Of course, it's kind of a bummer that YouTube doesn't share my videos very often, that people do not hear when I'm doing live streams. Of course, it's a bummer when all my videos get demonetized, like almost every video I've put out this month has been demonetized. All right, but you know what? We're not in this for the money. We're in this to spread the truth. We're in this to spread what is real. We're in this to help people. All right, so I was kind of pissed at this guy, but whatever. Here's what I said to him. I said the image. Where does it? All right, that's almost what I make in a single month from all my videos on YouTube, which is true. The video that's in question, I looked at the revenue from it. I think I'd made less than $40 on that video. And this was an older video too, right? And during this time, every once in a while we get a good stream where people actually give super chats. This stream in particular didn't even yield very many super chats at all, right? Stingy crowd, right? Right? People just maybe watching at work, people jumping in and out. Right? It wasn't a big revenue maker, this video. So the video probably total made me less than $20. I'm guessing. I think I looked in the back end, and I'm pretty sure it made less than $20. Right? So that's almost what I make from a single month on all my videos on YouTube. Definitely seems high. I would have to save up for a few weeks to even afford that. What if instead you came on my channel for a conversation? We could politely discuss vegan activism, animal husbandry, and talk about where we agree and disagree. It would give you significant exposure and promote your work. Right? So I offered the guys, let's extend the olive branch. Let's get animal rights photography on the channel. We can talk about our differences. I can tell him exactly why I think he's wrong in his vegan activism. Look at that. Jay throwing out the super chat. What up, Jay? Props to PEH. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man. Jay and I were going to do a stream last night. I was a little bit sick yesterday. It's been a crazy week. We can get into that stuff as well. But first of all, this is the drama download on what happened about 4 months ago, back in July. 4 months? I don't even know. 5 months? How many months ago is that? Several months. So yeah, thanks for the super chat, Jay. Guys, make sure to check out Jay Dyer. Legit. It's hard for me to call like any channel my favorite channel on YouTube, but Jay's is up there. I can't think of one that gives more value as far as the depth of knowledge, and I feel really blessed to have come upon his work concerning theology and essentially brought us and our family into understanding Eastern Orthodoxy. So yeah, props to Jay. Guys, make sure to check out Jay Dyer over there on the YouTubes. Word to you, mother. So I invited him on the show. I said, dude, like, come on. Here's my audience on a platter, right? Just like I tell all these vegans who like to shit on me online, who like to spread their little rumors, who like to play their little games. I told him, hey, come on, let's have a conversation. Let's talk mano a mano or womano a womano. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman. I'm assuming it's a dude from the way he tried to extort me. Women don't tend to be sketchy in that way, right? So this dude says... This dude says, where's the next one? All right, so I invite him on the channel. I say, come on my channel, dude. Come on the channel. And he says this. That's an interesting idea. However, I and my colleagues prefer to work behind the scenes, tending to avoid the limelight. I do think there's merit in it, so I will make an alteration. Hench Herbivore appears on your channel. This is something I am sure I could arrange. And you pay only $200 for past image use, which is still 10 times what the video even made. And of course, the video in question remains offline. So then that's what he wants. He wants me to pull the video down. I can have Hench Herbivore on my channel, and I get to give him $200 for the animals, of course, right? Extorting people for the animals. So if you guys don't know who Hench Herbivore is, he's like this washed up bouncer from the UK. He's a testosterone replacement therapy failure who has created a YouTube channel with an incredibly mediocre physique for even a natural bodybuilder, right? Hench Herbivore looks like any gym rat in the UK that used to be on lots of gear and now just cruises at like physiological dose because they're hypogonadal and they can't create any more testosterone. He looks like he looks like that. He just looks like a washed up bouncer, right? So he's this guy on YouTube, and of course, because it's the vegan world, right? If you're a vegan and you're like a mediocre talent at anything, right? Like if you're a vegan and you're a bodybuilder and you look slightly better than a gym rat who's been working out for 3 to 6 months, then you can be famous, right? Mediocrity reigns supreme in veganism. So he's one of these guys. Now, I don't know how connected Hench Herbivore is to this person, Animal Rights Photography. I just thought it was so funny that this is what they offered me. You can talk to Hench Herbivore as if I'm, going to be begging to have Hench Herbivore on my channel. Hench Herbivore, who actually blocked me because during a live stream that he was doing, I asked him a simple question. He was talking about how the ethics of veganism are so superior and so important, and how if we could all go vegan, it would be so much better for the planet and it would be ethically so much better for the world and for humanity and for the animals. I asked him a simple question. I said, Hench Herbivore, do you believe morality is objective or subjective? He read the question, and this is like one of the only live streams he's ever done, and he pulled it down because he has such bad brain fog. He couldn't finish sentences. He couldn't actually keep in line with what he was saying because he was so distracted by the chat. Which, look, I get distracted by the chat sometimes. Speaking of which, Zen Mode Philosophy, dude, thank you. Throwing $10, says, always happy to support the channel, brother. Keep spreading the truth. Right on, dude. Thank you so much. We got another super chat here. Judas Romo, $20. Thank you, Judas Romo. Really appreciate it. He didn't even have anything to say. He's just throwing it out there. So really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Remember, these do not get shared by YouTube very often. Who knows? Maybe the algorithm will allow me back in. Maybe I've been a good boy lately. After my last few videos, I'm not so sure. But a lot of the videos do get demonetized, and your support is really helpful, guys. Like, it makes it a lot easier for me to jump on here when y'all are throwing out the super chats and making it worth it, right? So thank you so much for the super chats, guys. Zen Mode Philosophy, Jade Dyer, Judas Romo. Thanks for throwing those out there. Much appreciated. So anyways, this guy wanted $200, which still is 10x what I would have made on that video. $500 was the beginning of his extortion attempt, and then he wanted, after that, $200 and offered, well, you can have Hench Herbivore on your channel, right? And now, however badly I would have loved to have Hench Herbivore on the channel, right? It'd be great to have a conversation with Hench Herbivore, and just listen to how, see how able he is to actually hold his position and see how his position holds up. That would be fun, but I'm not about to pay somebody $200 to have some washed up bouncer gearhead, mediocre even for a natural bodybuilder on my channel to talk about how he eats lentils and chickpeas until he farts and bleeds from his ass. I had no desire for that, right? Wasn't on the menu. Wasn't about to have Hench Herbivore on there. So let's see. That might have been the last. Let's see if I have another image. I think there might be one more. Okay. So I responded to him. I said $200 seems a bit excessive. I wouldn't have made more than $50 from that video with the amount of views it had at the time you had it removed. It would still take a couple weeks to get even $50 to you. How would I pay? PayPal? All right, so at this point, reading it now, like, I had no intention of paying him. I just wanted to see where he's going with this. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to send you the money through PayPal? Like, how do you want this transaction to go? All right, at this point, don't worry, guys. We don't negotiate with terrorists here. We don't negotiate with terrorists, but I wanted to see where this terrorist negotiation was going to go, right? Was he going to offer me a pound of Vivo Life protein powder? Was he going to send me one of the shirts that Tim Sheaf made? Those vegan shirts that Tim Sheaf made? Tim Sheaf, who's not even vegan anymore. Was he going to send me a t-shirt? What's going to happen here? If I send this guy $50, $200, what's he want? I said, I'm not wealthy. I live pretty simply in the middle of nowhere on a family farm. I can't just throw money around like that at this point, unfortunately. Concerning the hench conversation, I'm not interested in speaking to him. More interested to talking to you about your views and intentions. Thanks for the offer, but if you personally like to come on for a conversation and to promote your work, the offer is still on the table. So at this point, I'm pretty upset. Right? At this point, I'm pretty mad. But I know that within a few days, it's going to run out. The guys are obviously not going to, take legal action to have my video removed over a thumbnail image that's everywhere on the internet for free that he didn't even really copyright. He didn't even really own the copyright to the image. So what happened was YouTube gave me back live streaming. It gave me back my channel, right? So this was about 2 weeks after this. I had the ability to live stream again. And let me just pull up the previous image because I just think it's so funny when he tries to extort me for $500. So I got live streaming back. That was a couple weeks in, right? At this point, I didn't really have a desire to live stream. I was kind of sick of it. I was kind of annoyed with the whole thing. I was kind of annoyed with the whole battle, right? And at this point, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to take a few months off of live streaming. Spend some more time with the family, spend some time building up the business in other ways, spend some time not jibber jabbering to a bunch of people on the internet. So that is what happened. I didn't feel like jumping on the live streams for the last few months because, all right, there's several different reasons. I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but one of those reasons, I just didn't feel like it, right? You can only say so much. You can only criticize these dupes so much. And there's only so many people out there that are even fun to do live streams with, right? Like I love when dudes, I love doing the Boiler Room, which Jay usually streams Boiler Room on his channel, so you can hear me, Hesher, Jay, Spore, sometimes Truth Stream Media, Aaron and Melissa jump on the Boiler Room. It's really fun. I enjoy talking to the audience. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy doing the live streams, but I don't know. I kind of got over it. There were a few people out there essentially taking what I've been doing for the last few years and trying to repackage it, trying to pretend like they invented the shit. So I got kind of annoyed with that. I got annoyed with YouTube not promoting my videos and always promoting to me some of these other people who put out videos, clickbait shit all the time. And I don't know. I got kind of annoyed with the whole YouTube thing. Was a little black-pilled on it. So I spent a little bit of time away from the live streaming. But I'm back. I've been talking about coming back on for some live streams for a little bit now. There's so much stuff to cover. There's so much stuff to talk about other than these dork-ass vegans trying to extort me for money. But you know what? I'm back. I don't give a shit if there's 10 other people out there ripping off my content, trying to pretend like they invented my shit, using my talking points. I don't give a fuck how many mentally ill people there out there LARPing like they're me on the internet. I don't care. It doesn't bother me anymore. I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to address what's going on here, and I'm going to talk about the real issues. So that's it. I'm back, live stream, and I'm here. Garland Farms, what up, dude? Glad to see Garland Farms here. Always nice to have Garland. Travis Statham, what's up, dude? Look at all these wrenches. See, I know everyone with a wrench though. Sometimes people jump in. I'm like, how would you give it a wrench? But look at all these nice wrenched people in the chat. A bunch of the wrench on. A bunch of the homies from the carnivore community. So Garland Farms, Travis, what's up, guys? Bobby's Perspective, what up, dude? Always nice to see Bobby up on the streams. Bobby going from vegan to one of the most consistent and enjoyable people out there speaking out against veganism, right? So I'd really appreciate guys like this. Bobby, keeping it real, putting out good content out there, giving people good advice, and actually offering something beneficial out there. So it's always fun watching Bobby. Look at the chat. It's popping off. All right. So we got a lot of stuff going on today, guys. What do you think about that preview image? Anti-vegan for life, he says. What do you guys think about that preview image? That's not just some random preview image. Let me find. That is an image of the Animal Rebellion. The Animal Rebellion. Did you guys see my recent video about joining the Animal Rebellion? If you haven't, you got to check it out. It's really good. That video, let me see where that video is. I'll pull it up later, maybe. But anyways, maybe in the show notes later on, I'll throw that video up. If you're listening to this, I've got an image pulled up of Animal Rebellion's website. Animal Rebellion is an offshoot of Extinction Rebellion, which is a co-opted by the Fortune 100, completely controlled opposition group of petulant middle-class white kids with nothing better to do than to march around in the street trying to LARP like activists, pretending like they're doing something to change the world. While they're out there pretending to be doing something to change the world and LARPing like activists, what they're actually pushing for is the complete removal of our ability to actually eat animal foods. What they're actually pushing for is banning meat altogether, right, and create what they're calling a plant-based food system. So the language all comes from the language that these people use in Extinction Rebellion, in the Animal Rebellion, which is the offshoot of Extinction Rebellion, all comes out of these NGOs like the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, the Hewlett Foundation, the Packard Foundation, and then these groups like the World Resources Institute. The World Resources Institute was actually created by the MacArthur Foundation in order to spread this propaganda about the consolidation of, just like the name says, the world's resources. So that's really what this is about. All right, so that image, it was from the Animal Rebellion. So we're going to check out, maybe we should watch some videos of the Animal Rebellion. Maybe we should watch some of these videos. What do you guys think? And if you have any specific videos that you guys want to watch or critique, or any specific topics you want to talk about, feel free to send over them super chats, and we can do it. Right, so this is the image that was on the preview. Where'd it go? This one. These dudes dressed up with makeup and these weird red ritualistic LARPy outfits, and of course they've got that rune symbol on their hand right there. It's like a symbol of regeneration. It's a symbol of it's a rune, right? So look just how disgusting and satanic this image is. All right, this is like Michael Jackson meets Eyes Wide Shut. But this is vegan activism, right? This is vegan activism. The Animal Rebellion. What do they want? What do these divorced wine moms, LARPing boomers, empty-headed Zoomers, and stuck in the 90s Gen Xers want? They want a plant-based food system. So they want exactly what the Fortune 100 has been saying they want. They want exactly what the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and all of these big global corporations want to push on the whole world. The plant-based diet. The plant-based diet. Let's check out. Let's see if there's any interesting videos here. Hopefully I don't get hit with a copyright strike. I'm not going to go for any of these big... I'm not going to do any of those news...
Not climate change! System change, not climate change! Who say? System change, not climate change! System change, not climate change! Hey! How are you?
System change, not climate change!
System change, not climate change!
Whose future?
Our future!
Whose forest?
Our forest!
Whose fire?
Tagging you both. Recognise you
Whose
instantly.
London?
Wait.
Whose police?
Our police!
Whose government?
Our government!
Whose future?
Our future!
Whose children? Our
children!
Whose children? Our children! None of you have children, do you? I got a super chat from John Titor. What's up, John? How's it going, dude? Hope you're doing well. John Titor, he was actually in the last Keto and Carnivore Collective, which was really fun. Hope everything's going well with you, man. Hope all's good. All right. Appreciate everything you do. Right on, dude. So whose children? Our children. Whose children? Whose police? Our police. This is... How pathetic is this? Where's the actual fire, right? Where's the actual, like, this? Supposedly these people believe that there's an animal holocaust going on. They believe that killing crickets, rabbits, donkeys, and cows is the same as killing a human, right? Which is in and of itself a completely satanic idea, right? Equating humans with animals, believing that humans are just straight up beasts, is a satanic philosophy. Now, if you believe that we're just beasts, then there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't kill animals, right? You think humans are on equal footing with animals, then what makes it to where animals can kill and eat other animals, but humans cannot kill and eat other humans, right? I mean, in this materialistic philosophy, this degenerate materialism philosophy, there's no difference. We're all just clumps of cells. We're all just matter eating itself. We're all just random clumps of cells, randomly floating about in a random universe. Come on. In that worldview, what makes it wrong for human beings to eat animals? Absolutely nothing. Right? If you believe humans and animals are the same, then why aren't you out there protesting the animals, eating other animals? Why aren't you out there protesting the spiders, eating smaller animals? Right? Super ridiculous. Super freaking ridiculous. But it's just funny to me to see how little energy these people actually have. You know, like, where's the...
Forest!
Forest!
Who's London?
Our London!
Who's London?
Our London!
Who's police?
Our police!
Who's government?
Our government!
Just heartless, right? It's heartless. I mean, and compare this... Oh, look, it's my own video. Compare this... Compare this with what happened in Ecuador, right? When people were actually out there in the streets protesting. When people were actually serious about what they were protesting about, getting bombed all day. See, most of the videos now, it's hard to find some of these clips I had. I've got them all on my other computer. Compare that with this. When you got police shooting people in the streets, you've got tanks rolling through the streets. You've got the police and military being sicked on the people, right? Compare legitimately, really upset people actually protesting, locking down an entire country, right? Locking down an entire country. I'm trying to find some of these, most of the videos. Let's see. There's some really interesting videos from Ecuador the last few weeks, but this is what happens when people actually protest something that the elite don't want you to talk about. This is what happens when people actually go out in the streets and block roads and stop an entire country. What happened in Ecuador? Contrast that with these kids LARPing in the streets. The police do nothing. Police do absolutely nothing. Whose animals? Our animals. I thought you people were against owning animals. I thought you people were against animal ownership. What are you talking about? Your animals. Right? Look at the protest. Look at the separatist, the Catalonian separatist, out in the streets getting the shit kicked out of them by police. Right? And contrast that with these LARPers over there in London saying, "Take away our animals, government. Take away our most important food source, government." Right? These people, they call themselves the Animal Rebellion, but they're the least rebellious people out there. These are the people who are doing exactly what their governments want. Protesting against the most nourishing foods, the foods that people can actually procure themselves, the foods that people can actually feed their own families with on their own land, to make them dependent and subservient, to make them dependent on these big ag, big pharma, Consolidated soylent slop kibble foods. That's what they want. Right? They're marching out there to give humans animal rights and to give animals human rights. It's completely backwards. Let's find some better videos. So this guy, Mr. Broccoli, I haven't seen this yet. Now you've got Mr. Broccoli. Compare. Let's see, Mr. Broccoli. I'll pull up something to compare Mr. Broccoli with in a second. This is how vegans do activism. All right, this is vegan wacktivism in full effect. The animal rebellion. There's an animal holocaust going on, guys. Cows are the same as humans, right? Pigs are the same as humans. Killing pigs, same as killing humans. These people profess that they believe this. They think that eggs are murder. And this is how they respond, right? Imagine there's a real Holocaust going on, right? Millions of people being killed. That's what these people think. They think animals are people. They want to give animals personhood, legally. They want to give animals personhood. And this is what they do. This is how they fight the totally real and completely legitimate and true animal holocaust. Oh, we don't even get video? All right, I guess we'll have to watch. Let's see. There you go.
I'm just a humble broccoli, but I want people to be able to feel like they can come and take part in this protest.
Yeah, but you have to explain to them why you believe a plant-based diet is actually going to be effective. If you don't know the science, how can you do that?
It's quite easy.
Well, hang on, sorry, we're
hang on,
talking to
Mr.
Mr.
Broccoli
Broccoli.
speak.
Well, I am just a broccoli.
Right, but Mr. Broccoli, you have a point to make, don't you, other than just
Yes,
dressing
yes.
up?
No,
My
he has
point
no
is
real
that
point to make.
Environmentally speaking, we're in incredibly hot water, and we do need to transition
You don't
to a
know why,
plant-based
do
food
you?
system.
You don't know the science.
We need a plant-based food system. All right, is this the whole video? Where is it? I can't find the original video. I feel like I'll get a copyright strike if I actually try to play this. But how ridiculous is this? Mr. Broccoli. Right, this is how this dude fights the animal holocaust. This is how this guy fights the animal holocaust. And these people are such rebels. They're such rebels that Good Morning Britain features Mr. Broccoli, right? He's fighting the system so hard. The economic elite, the international elite are so afraid of the Extinction Rebellion. They're so afraid of these climate activists that they give them every single opportunity that they can to get on television and spread their message. They give them every single opportunity that they can to reach millions of people with their message, which just happens to be exactly what the IMF, the big banks, the IMF, who Christine Lagarde is now the head of the Bank of Europe, the former head of the International Monetary Fund, convicted criminal Christine Lagarde, who was featured in one of my recent videos. I think it was the I Am a Vegan Now. It wasn't the I Am a Vegan Now. It was the I'm Joining the Animal Rebellion video. Watch that one. You can see a clip of psychopathic, bloody murderer Christine Lagarde, who has more blood on her hands than many of the most famous demonized people in history in the 20th century. This woman whose IMF policies have created more death, more political unrest, more starvation than any other group that I can think about right now. Christine Lagarde from the IMF and World Bank, they promote this stuff. They want a plant-based diet. They want to increase the price of all goods, which they call austerity measures, right? Austerity measures means making everybody austere. What is austere? Austere is poor. Austere is being poor. All right, so this is the animal rebellion. This is the animal rebellion. Now compare that with, let's see if I can find, compare that with other protests like we saw in Ecuador. All right, so in England, if you're a climate activist, a total rebel, right, fighting against the system in the Extinction Rebellion, then you get on Good Morning Britain, right? You go talk to Piers Morgan, who everybody hates, right? Piers Morgan is universally despised in much of the world, and especially in America. Remember, he used to be on US TV for a while, and they kicked him off because nobody liked him. Isn't it funny that everybody's British on US news now? Isn't that weird? They want Americans to believe that Americans are dumb. If you speak with an American accent, you're stupid. Listen to these enlightened Englishmen, right? They speak the Queen's English. They know exactly what we should do with the world. In the UK, Extinction Rebellion, Animal Rebellion, they're on TV, right? They're out there spreading the message in front of millions of people, telling the masses all about how we need a plant-based diet, right? And they're out there and they're illegally shutting down businesses. They're over there, blocking people from purchasing meat, trying to block McDonald's, and they get on TV. In Ecuador, when the IMF imposes austerity measures with its loan package and its conditions that they give these Latin American dictators. In South America, what happens when the IMF actually implements the policies that the useful idiots over there marching in the streets in the UK are marching for, right? They're marching on behalf of this IMF rhetoric. They're marching on behalf of the Fortune 100's interests, these big NGOs who want a so-called plant-based food system because it's a consolidated food system where they can control everything you eat, where they can economically dominate the entire globe, take the valuable resources from under your feet because you're so poor, malnourished, confused, and afraid because of the police state and military terror states that they fund. Right? And then the companies like Nabisco, like Nestle, like Walmart, like Chevron, like BP, like Shell, like Cargill, like Monsanto and Bayer can go in, swoop up all the resources and buy them all up for pennies, dirt cheap. Right? This is what happens in Ecuador when people actually fight against these IMF policies that are being promoted by these kids over on the streets in England. You get gangs of police cruising around, beating the crap out of people. Right? There were more than 8 deaths. 8 deaths is the official count, but there have been a lot more. There are actually several deaths that were on video on Twitter, which is really horrific to see. But this is what's been going on the last few weeks over here in Ecuador. Due to the IMF austerity package, which has been dictated to the president, who is a stooge of the IMF and World Bank, took a $4.2 billion unnecessary loan and wants to sell off the resources of his country dirt cheap. You get gangs of police in the streets abusing people. You get people shot dead in the streets. You had an entire country shut down. An entire country completely shut down. This is the later days. Keto is just a mess. You get entire country shut down, and you get police roaming in gangs on the streets, beating up women and children, shooting tear gas into hospitals. Look at this sucker. This is what happened in Ecuador. Is at La Universidad Católica, the Catholic University, the police were firing tear gas into the hospital, into the peace zones. These people are trying not to be massacred. Here's the Ecuadorian people trying to storm the assembly, the National Assembly building, La Asamblea Nacional. So this is what's been going on here the last few weeks. Protesting the austerity measures which were dictated to their president, who they now see as illegitimate. Protesting the austerity measures that the IMF told their president that he needs to implement. And what are those austerity measures? Well, one of the first ones was increasing the price of gasoline, from it was $1.08. They increased it to $2.39. Every single food product that you buy in this country, all the food is transported using trucks that run on diesel. So this was going to increase the price of all goods in this country, which is an oil-producing nation, right? That oil, which the IMF wants, right? Which those companies in the World Business Council for Sustainable Development that are pushing the animal rebellion and the extinction rebellion, those same big companies want those resources. They want that oil and they want it dirt cheap, right? So they want to impose poverty on the rest of the world, destabilize and destroy third world countries to make sure that everybody in those third world countries are dirt poor, can afford nothing but the imported foods from these Fortune 100 big companies, who are then going to go rape and pillage their resources for dirt cheap, privatize their land, sell off all their resources to these big corporate interests, mine the shit out of the Amazon for the very companies that these people, the very companies that promote these people and the animal rebellion and the extinction rebellion. That's what's going on. So, pretty weird, right? If you're such rebels, if you're so rebellious, why are you being featured on TV? Why are you on all the TV channels? Why is Mr. Broccoli Man going viral?
Ein als Brokkoli verkleideter Demonstrant wurde am Sonntag in London von der Polizei festgenommen. Er rief "Give peace a chance", womit sowohl das Wort Frieden gemeint sein konnte, wie auch das Wort Erbsen.
Give peace a chance!
Die festgenommene Person ist Mitglied von Animal Rebellion, einem Ableger von der Organisation Extinction Rebellion.
Give peace a chance. So that's what you have, right? You know, these people aren't going to go out there and fight against anything real, because what they're fighting against is what they're told to fight against. They want to fight against our ability to feed ourselves. It's really stupid, right? So the plant-based diet, the animal rebellion. Check it out. Plant-based News is a big promoter of the animal rebellion. Let's check out what Plant-based News has to say. Oprah urges everyone to eat at least one plant-based meal a day. Oprah. Oprah says eat one plant-based meal a day. That's so cool. Oprah, I hope your friend Jean of God, who got arrested for child trafficking and is accused of running child slavery and prostitution rings in Brazil, where he had women running baby farms where they would be impregnated and they would have to work in these mines, pulling out jewels, working in the, it wasn't diamonds, it's the emerald mines over in Brazil. This cult leader, John of God, who Oprah said was just great. She featured him on her channel, on her show many times. I hope John of God is on a plant-based diet, as he's trafficking in children and running a baby farm with slave labor from women. The doctor reviews the Game Changers. I don't see anything there. It is Extinction Rebellion. Let's find some. I want to find more Animal Rebellion images, because this Animal Rebellion thing is just, it's getting really funny. Some of the images are just ridiculous. All right, I got a super chat. Tengri K, what's up, man? $9.99. Thank you for the donation, man. Really appreciate it. You guys are what keep this channel alive. You guys are what actually keep this channel going. He says, hello, Tristan. Can you quickly talk about electrolytes on carnivore and fasting? Sodium, potassium, magnesium, etc. Or do you have a source video to refer us to? I'm lost on the issue. All right, most people on a full carnivore diet, all they need to do is salt their food. All right, salt is very important. Salting liberally can be a great idea. I suggest using a high-quality, unrefined salt if you can. I like to use like mined salts. We get a really good mined salt here out of Peru. It's a little bit more local. If you're in the U.S., some of the better salt sources would be Redmond Real Salt. It has quite a bit of iodine in it, which is great. Not a big fan of, and please avoid, Himalayan pink salt. Himalayan pink salt is cheap-ass Chinese rock salt that they actually use a lot of explosives to mine, and there's a lot of contamination. You might even get some... You might even have some gunpowder in that stuff if you're using the Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt, really shitty. Don't use it. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. So for potassium, if you eat fresh meat in significant quantities and enough of it, especially if you're not overcooking it, I'm not saying like you got to eat raw meat or anything to get potassium in, but if you eat fresh meat, you're going to get plenty of potassium. Right? I think a pound of meat. Let's see. I don't want to quote this one incorrectly, but I believe. Let's see. Anyways, I think a pound of meat has something like 1,200 milligrams of potassium in it. Most people find that they don't have to supplement potassium, that they don't have to supplement magnesium. And a lot of people, when they do try and supplement potassium and magnesium on carnivore, some of them feel worse. All right, so if you are going to supplement with potassium or magnesium, use a magnesium source that's not a laxative. There are a lot of laxative magnesium sources. Avoid magnesium oxide like the plague. Magnesium oxide is terrible. Avoid magnesium oxide. Use like magnesium malate's okay, magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, muscle metals. Magnesium citrate can be a little bit harsh for some people. It can cause a little bit of gastric emptying. But what you should do is focus on the salt. Eat fresh animal foods, right? Not like a bunch of canned food and stuff like that. And you're going to be getting plenty of potassium if you're eating foods like beef, salmon, eggs, liver. You'll be getting all kinds of potassium and magnesium. And then salt your food liberally, especially when you're first starting out. There you go, 1,400 milligrams of potassium in a pound of beef, which for most people is actually very, very good. Now, when you're looking at all of the potassium, you look at things like spinach, right? Yeah, spinach has potassium in it. But spinach is also full of anti-nutrients like oxalate. Oxalate can actually bind to things like calcium and magnesium and potassium, making it inert and unabsorbable. So when you're looking at how much potassium there is on all these foods, for the most part, you really don't have any idea how much of that potassium is actually going to be bioavailable and absorbed because of the anti-nutrient content of a lot of these foods. All right, so this is something that we actually want to consider. You don't need to just consider the nutrients in foods, because on paper, a lot of these foods seem to have a lot of nutrients, but when it really plays out in your metabolism, they are not always bioavailable. You can't always digest them. All right, so everyone's talking about Himalayan salt. Yeah, no, Himalayan salt's a ripoff. You know how much money. All right, so before we started doing what we do now, right, I was involved in the export and import food business. We used to sell foods to these big companies that sell it to these vegan companies, right? So companies you see out there like, Vivo Life, right? They buy raw materials from brokers and from other people who procure those materials within whatever country they're manufacturing it in. And so they're buying these sometimes second and third hand, right? When people buy Himalayan salt, they buy an entire container of it, and they end up paying usually less than 2 cents a pound. Do the math. These people are paying 2 to 3 cents a pound for Himalayan salt when they're buying it by the container, and they're selling it to you for like $15 to $30 a pound, depending on how gullible people are and on what, depending on what store they're buying it from. So I'm not a fan of the Himalayan salt. Everybody loves Himalayan salt because, it's Himalayan. Oh, these beautiful enlightened yogis, like these sages must have pulled it out of the ground. Like this was harvested. This was all harvested by a yogi who was doing his mudras, and he was chanting beautiful prayers to this, and then it was transported into the United States on the back of a humpback whale. And then when it gets there, it's just these beautiful little crystals. And no, that's not the case. They actually bomb the ground to get this stuff. They use dynamite to blow up parts of mountains where they've got so much of this shit. And they call it Himalayan salt, but it should be called Chinese salt. A lot of it's harvested in Pakistan, but it's all harvested by Chinese companies who then send it to China, process it, package it, and then they send it to you and they sell it for way too much. So Himalayan salt, don't buy it. Anti-vegan, what's up? Yeah, eat salt harvested from your own country. Exactly. Anti-vegan says exactly like so many of these new age vegans who are obsessed with gemstones. Yeah. you get so malnourished and you get so disconnected from what it is to feel human that people start worshiping rocks. This new age vegan shit, dude. They start worshiping crystals. It's like, I can feel the crystals giving me energy. The crystals giving me energy. Because they're not getting energy from their food. They're not getting real energy from their food. So they got to get it from the spirits. Oh, the spirits. It's like when you eat Himalayan pink salt, the first thing you want to do is you want to put it in your hand and you just want to sit there with its energy. And you just feel its energy going through your fingers. And you just feel its energy. And you just finger its energy in your hands. And you feel it. And you take a big, deep breath. Ah! And you exhale. And you feel the energies of those crystals just igniting all the chakras of your body, connecting you with the spirits of your ancestors and with the spirits of the ascended masters like Earthling Ed and Hedge Herbivore. How do you feel about eating canned sardines? I love the fact of it being a whole food, including the skin and bones, but the canned part concerns me. Hey, I like canned sardines. They're pretty cool. The thing about canned sardines is they're in a can. That's the downside. The great thing about canned sardines, you can eat them anywhere and get them anywhere. So I dig the canned sardines. Those can be fun. Of course, you're not going to want to make your whole diet around canned sardines, but if you have a canned sardine, enjoy it. Look at all these triggered people crying in the chat. I guess you don't have a salt lamp then. No, I do have salt lamps. Those are pretty cool. I don't worship my salt lamps like these dumb freaking vegans. Right? Yeah, I have a salt lamp. That doesn't mean I talk to the ascended masters and I'm a dumb new ager. Right? Dorks in the chat. Get out of here if you're triggered. It's so funny how people feel the need to share every little triggered thought that they have in the chat. Fuck out of here with that shit. Nothing wrong with being canned. Look, canned foods, they have their place. Eating exclusively canned foods has no place in a healthy diet, right? Canned foods are cool. Anal Gains says, let's debate for $200. Right on, Anal Gains. We can debate. You send me $200 and I'll give you my my Skype and we can debate, dude. You can jump on here right now. Oprah, friends with Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Nexium sex cultist, Rainier, and John of God. See a pattern? Yeah, exactly. All of these elite, all of these people who are high up in media are completely controlled and are complete degenerates. Right? How do you think Jeffrey Epstein gets access to Bill Gates' financials? Why do you think Jeffrey Epstein is telling Bill Gates where to invest? Why do you think Jeffrey Epstein is telling Bill Gates to donate to MIT's Media Lab? Right? What do you think? What do you think's going on here, guys? Why is Oprah associated with John of God, a child trafficking, human trafficking, completely satanic cult leader who likes to cut open people and pull parts of their bodies out? And she says he's just great. Right? Why are all these big philanthropists who openly talk about wanting to depopulate the world funding and supporting things like a plant-based diet? Wow. It's almost as if the world is run by a bunch of satanic pedos. It's almost like what I've been saying for 15 years plus is right. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. All right. All right, thanks for the super chats, guys. Yeah, that Himalayan salt, definitely don't do that for the electrolytes. But look, if you're on carnivore, most people who are doing keto, when they first start out especially, end up having to mess around a little bit with electrolyte levels. What I think is going on, I think a lot of people are actually dealing with the effects of anti-nutrients also blocking the uptake of these minerals. So people start trying to have loads of spinach for electrolytes. That's not going to do it. That potassium is going to get bound up with that oxalate that's in the spinach. You're not going to absorb it. Oprah was a huge fan of Bill Gates and his wrecking of education. Yeah, exactly. You know, these people, they want to educate the world. What do you mean by educate? They want to indoctrinate the world. So, Animal Rebellion blockade London Smithfield Market, says BBC. So check this out. These people blocked up this market where middle-class people go to get their food, where normal people work, where people who actually work, unlike these vegans, who are out there protesting on behalf of Bill Gates on behalf of the Rockefeller Foundation, of the World Resources Institute and whatnot, and all these degenerate elites that want to control your food supply, control your behavior, and crowd you in a socially engineered smart city coffin apartment grids where everything you do is tracked, where all of your transactions are done digitally so that they can be tracked and you can be controlled behaviorally through the smart devices that eventually they want to implant into you, turning you into a piece of military hardware, turning you into an iPhone, which is military hardware. That's what they want to do. That's the ultimate goal. And that's what these people are marching for. And that's why Christine Lagarde of the IMF got up, like I showed in my recent video called I'm Joining the Animal Rebellion. I think that's what it was called. I changed the title of the video to try to see if I could get it in the algorithm. But YouTube shut it down. No one saw it. But it was one of the best videos I've made. Actually, I got to get the right name for you guys so we can actually... I'll find the actual video. It's 3 videos ago. The last video that I remember making, because the last video I really, really thoroughly enjoyed making, although it was a labor-intensive video, this one, Why I Joined the Animal Revolution and Animal Rebellion in London. Watch that one for the clip of Christine Lagarde talking about what this is actually about. Christine Lagarde, running the IMF, who now is going to run the European Central Bank. All right, now there's a Bank of Europe now, guys. The European Central Bank, to control the economies of all of the nations of the EU. That woman got up and said, we've got earmarked $130 trillion in pension funds that we want to put in, and we want to, they call it unlock, but that means they want to take those $130 trillion and invest that in a brand new global infrastructure of a total technological controlled, technocratic control grid called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And that's what this is all about. This is not just about taking away your right to eat animal foods. That's just a part of it. It's about taking your land. It's about crowding you into smart city apartments and dumbing you down, THX 1138 style. You want to see what the future that these people have planned is like, watch THX 1138. So here's what BBC has to say about the climate change protesters. One man was arrested as up to 400 protesters from Animal Rebellion, an offshoot of Extinction Rebellion, set up camp in the center of an 800-year-old Farringdon meat market. There were also stalls filled with food that will make up our future food system during the 18-hour protest, which began on Monday night. You see how these are very, very tightly controlled messages that you're given about this. Foods that will make up our future food system. These hacktivists, wacktivists are not just being used to disrupt people. They're being used in street theater, agitation propaganda street theater that actually is demonstrating to you the end game. Right? They want a complete control grid where you are forced to eat the food that will make up our future food system, which is shitty-ass plant foods. All right? So if the government were to take the climate change seriously, one of the biggest things they can do is look at the food systems, says Alex Lockwood, a spokesman for Extinction Rebellion, or Animal Rebellion. I'm just going to copy his name so I can look him up in a second. We can look into him. Agriculture is currently responsible for about 9% of the UK's greenhouse emissions, mostly from methane, says the BBC. So the BBC adds this. The BBC is advertising this to you. You don't understand if you're just a normie and you think that this is the news. Now, if you think the BBC is out there just to tell you what's going on in the world, oh, look at this. We've got to tell the people about this. That's not what the BBC is all about. The BBC is a propaganda organization. The BBC is there to tell you what to believe about the world, what to believe about where you come from, who you are, and where you're going. The BBC is there to mold and refine and erect a worldview that's going to inform all the decisions you make and going to inform how you filter all the information that you receive through these propaganda outlets, PR outlets like the BBC, which is owned by the British government. So the British government is telling you agriculture is currently responsible for 9% of the UK's greenhouse emissions, mostly from methane. What they're not telling you is that there are what are called methanotropes that are actually in the soil that these animals are constantly shitting on, pissing on, stomping on, and turning around and pushing that poo-poo into it. Right? So the BBC, who also tells you that it's really good to put the poo-poo in the pee-pee. The BBC says it's not okay to eat meat, but you can put the pee-pee in the poo-poo. The BBC isn't telling you that those methanotropes in the ground are actually pulling methane out of the atmosphere at the same time. We're not just looking at nasty little cows that are creating problems. We're looking at parts of a system, right? Members of a system. These are systems within systems. The greenhouse gas systems are not as simple as these people are making it out to be. In fact, animal agriculture, they call it, which is just keeping animals so that you can eat them, is actually responsible for actually keeping carbon in the ground, for sequestering that carbon in the ground. Not that I buy into the faulty assumption that carbon dioxide is toxic and terrible and going to destroy the planet. But that's what these people want you to believe, because they think you're so stupid that you won't question this. They think you're so stupid that you'll just buy into this. And for the most part, a lot of people are dumb enough. That's what's so sad. That's what's so frustrating, right? A lot of people buy into this stuff. They think that this is a public service announcement from BBC. And they don't realize that this is actually highly subversive propaganda. So the BBC telling you that, oh, look at those greenhouse gases. The group claims animal farming uses 70% of agricultural land and is the leading cause of deforestation, biodiversity loss, and water pollution. So they tell you, sorry, I'm trying to make sure my camera's not, it's like all washed out over here. They tell you that the group claims animal farming uses 70% of agricultural land as the leading cause of deforestation, biodiversity loss, and water pollution. This is such bullshit that I don't even know where to start. 70% of agricultural land, right? First of all, do you own that land? Right? They like to use this land grab framing, right? Where it's like, oh, if we just took everybody's land and made them grow plants instead of animals, we could grow more food. We could grow more calories. All right, you can grow more calories on a piece of land using plant agriculture than you can with animal agriculture if you take everybody's land and force them to grow plants on it. This is a line that I put in the last video. Right? This is what they want to do. This is what these people are working towards. I'm trying to fix the camera. The camera's all weird and washed out. Contrast is too much. There we go. Saturation too much. There we go. Less saturation. Saturated fats. So the group claims that animal farming uses more land as the leading cause of deforestation, biodiversity loss, and water pollution. All of these are bullshit. Deforestation happens when companies go in and strip mine the land. Then what people end up doing, because there's nothing else you can do with that land, a lot of times people put cattle on it. All right? Mining is what's responsible for the deforestation. Mining and the extraction of oil is what's responsible for taking down all these huge plots in the Amazon. But they don't tell you that. And they tell you that animals pollute water, which is absolute bullshit. Right? The factory farming system is obviously flawed. But the very companies that run the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, which is one of these groups that is actually pushing for and advocating for the plant-based dietary policy, that's pushing for a global food system consolidation on behalf of the Fortune 100 companies. Those companies, the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, are the very companies that are destroying the forest, right? You're looking at BP, Chevron, Shell. Now, Chevron, I don't think Chevron's a member, but BP, Monsanto, Cargill, Dow, all of these companies are members of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, who actually do go clear rainforests out, violently oppress through their IMF lackey shill dictators in Latin American countries the populations of people that protest against this. They even kill them and slaughter them in some instances so that they can extract the resources and then eventually grow soy on them. Those are the companies that are pushing this. All right, Mr. Lockwood said the meat industry is on its knees, but there are still no subsidies to help farmers who want to transition to a plant-based food system. There you go. They want money. They want to subsidize Beyond Burgers. They want to subsidize your kibble so that you're eating fortified, subsidized, mass-produced kibble all around the planet, and nobody is producing their own food, and nobody knows how to nourish themselves or manage land. That's the goal. This is what people don't understand. This is why I'm out here talking about this all the time. We're not at Smithfield to disrupt ordinary people from their work. We're here to send a message to the government. This industry, at the heart of the climate emergency, has to be helped to transition to a plant-based food system. See, this is why they don't get beat the shit out of by police officers like these people in Latin American countries that go out and protest their IMF austerity measures that want to make them poor so that these Fortune 100 companies can extract their land, can destroy their countries and take all their resources and make them into debt slaves. That's why these people in London, they don't get fucked with. The police temporarily detain some of them and then they send them on their way. And then Piers Morgan and the BBC tells them, hey, come on TV. That's why. Because these people are petitioning the government. They're begging the government. They're not out there protesting against the government. They're out there saying, government, put money into a plant-based food system because climate change. The world is going to end if we don't all eat kibble and sterilize ourselves. Right? They get these people in this childish way to go out there and march on behalf of the very banks that are destroying the ecosystems that these people talk about preserving. They go out there and they ask the government for money so they can grow soy. And they want the government to force people to do this. We're here to send a message to the government. This industry at the heart of the climate emergency has to be helped transition to a plant-based food system. That's what it's about. A citizens' assembly with speakers including TV presenter Chris Packham, was held as activists camped out overnight on Monday. Protesters also held a candlelight vigil in memory of all the animals who lost their lives. All the animals who lost their lives. And here they have bananas from Ecuador, where the people for the last 2 weeks had shut down their country because of the IMF austerity measures that have been imposed upon them to try to break them so that their resources can be consumed, so that they can fight amongst themselves and be suppressed by military and police forces who are funded by the IMF and the World Bank to suppress them so that these companies who want you to eat plant-based kibble, don't worry, it'll be fortified with nutrients, so that these companies can go up and extract all the resources and turn these people into debt slaves so you can get cheap-ass fucking bananas. This is what these people are doing. This is what's going on. This is what they want. The group is demanding an end to the industries of animal agriculture and fishing, and to transition the UK to a sustainable and just plant-based food system by 2025. There you go. That's what it's about. And it's not just about that. It's also about carbon markets. It's also about taxing life. It's about making you believe in this completely satanic, inverted theology that you're bad just for being human, and you're toxic, and you're destroying the environment because you were born, therefore you got to pay a bunch of taxes. And they're going to use this just revolution. They're going to call it they're going to call it social justice for the animals, climate justice. They're using this war propaganda to mobilize an entire generation, actually multiple generations of useful idiots, to actually marching for the taking away of your land, your rights, your food sources, your communities, your families, and every single bit of dignity and freedom you have as a human being. To put you in a crowded, socially engineered, smart city apartment Or just like in Blade Runner 2049, your best friend is your AI, which is essentially a behaviorist control tool used to modify your behavior and get you to do exactly what the people who program you through these media organizations want you to do. I wish I didn't have to talk about this. I wish this wasn't the case. I wish we could just make fun of vegans because they're stupid. I wish we could just laugh at all the stupid gay shit vegans say. But we can't. This is what's really happening. All right. Garland Farms. What's up, dude? Garland Farms lightening up the situation with a $25 super chat. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it, man. Hope all's well. I haven't seen any videos from you in a while. Hope to see some soon. He says, I'm donating $1 for 25 of the 266 people watching now. Support good content if you don't want eating healthy meat to become criminalized. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. And we really do. You know, what keeps this going, what keeps these streams alive are you guys' super chats. And I want to thank some of the people who've made very generous donations via PayPal for the over the last couple months. We've had some really overly generous donations, and I want to thank you. Right? It makes it possible for us to spend so much time here educating you about this as we get demonetized, as we get our videos hidden in the algorithm, and as we get demonized by this dehumanizing media. It's really helpful. So thanks a lot, dude. So here, look at this war propaganda, the New Republic. Let's win the war on warming. How we can mobilize to defeat climate change. Bill McKibben says we're under attack from climate change, and our only hope is to mobilize like we did in World War II. The only hope is to mobilize like we did in World War II. So the only hope for the planet, because there's this crazy emergency and we're all going to die, our only hope is to boost the military-industrial complex, which the military-industrial complex during the first World Wars, they consolidated a lot of resources and they were able to mobilize people using a lot of propaganda in order to kill millions of people. Right? Now, this is slightly different. They don't want you to go out in the streets and kill people yet. Right? They're telling you cannibalism should be normalized. They're telling you infanticide is good and enlightenment and a human right, and it's a human right to kill unborn babies. They're telling you all these satanic, inverted, nonsense things that they want you to believe. But they're not telling you to go kill people yet. Right? Unfortunately, that there might come a day when that type of rhetoric becomes legitimized. You do have people talking about, euthanasia. You have Bill Gates openly talking about, well, should we really be helping these people to live a few extra years to use all these resources we could be using to give to like teachers and stuff? They're normalizing the idea of euthanasia, the idea of institutionalized, not just infanticide, but also euthanasia of the old, the useless eaters. And, wait, where'd it go? And they're using war propaganda to do it. So World War II was when the entire nation of the United States was mobilized in a way to fight an external threat. Right? Millions of people died. The entire world order was shaken to its core. And of course, they got their United Nations. Now, World War I gave them the League of Nations. That didn't work out. It's a world government that they had planned. Guys like H.G. Wells talked about how we need another war to create a world government. The UN didn't really get them where they wanted to go, but it's a step. Right? Now, they need a global threat so that all the nations of the world need to come together to fight this global threat. And how are you going to fight it? By giving us all your resources and control over you, your education, your children, and everything you do. That's what they want. It's not that global warming is like a world war. It is a world war, says Bill McKibben. Its first victims, ironically, are those who have done the least to cause the crisis. But it's a world war aimed at us all. And if we lose, we will be as decimated and helpless as the losers in every conflict, except that this time there will be no winners and no end to the planet-wide occupation that follows. So whereas the real threat is actually the Fortune 100 companies taking over all the resources, they're telling you, no, look, the threat's communism. The threat is the Cold War. The threat is Saddam Hussein. The threat is now climate change. The threat is now overpopulation. And they want to mobilize you into this global war economy to wage war on what? On yourself. right? Jason, Trump is the threat. Exactly. Trump is the problem. Did you guys hear what Orange Man said this week? Oh, he's so racist. Right? They give you these fake figureheads, these ineffectual klutz figureheads who you think run the world. If you think Trump is the problem, you're the problem. Right? If you just think Hillary is the problem, you're the problem. The problem is not that. Right? The problem is the global elite, the economic elite, global banking, which isn't just like a single race, right? Global banking, which is run by Protestants as well as Catholics and Jews, not just everyone's like, oh, the Jews. Right? You get clumped up into these little groups fighting invisible fake enemies, when really it's not the commies or the Russians. The Russians are doing it. The Russians are meddling with elections. Did you hear about them meddling? If it weren't for those meddling Russians, we would have had our beautiful global utopia. But those meddling Russians, right? You're given all these fake threats. And the ultimate fake threat, the ultimate scam, is this climate economy, this climate war. And this is war propaganda, and they blatantly use war propaganda imagery from the Cold War and from World War II and World War I. Because it works. They've got the script. Look at the cute Masonic checkerboard on the side of the farm or whatever is behind that lady too, with her windmills, right? They replace images of actual real nature, and they want you to think windmills are going to save the world, right? If we can just give the IMF all our money and just go into massive debt to these global banks, give the IMF our resources rather, and take their fake funny money and devalue our currencies and create civil unrest in our nations, right? And move the rural people away from rural areas. If we could just do that and set up windmills, we're all going to be good, and the climate will stop changing. All right, you guys know who Bill McKibben is? Bill McKibben. Bill McKibben associates with Naomi Klein. Very closely associated with Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg. These are the people who are handling these fake environmentalists. Bill McKibben, I think he's from 350.org. Yeah. He wrote a book called The End of Nature. If you look at 350.org, who's behind a lot of this climate crisis rhetoric, 350.org receives a lot of funding from groups like, from NGOs like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, but also through like Avaz and these other NGOs and these big faux philanthropists. So this guy, Bill McKibben, he's not just some kook. This guy is a handler who actually influences a lot of people in the climate crisis movement. Terra Daily, news about planet Earth. Rockefeller-inspired climate action mobilizes $3.4 trillion. $3.4 trillion. Yay! There you go. Exactly. Avaz is Soros. Exactly. Avaz, which takes money from... It's not the Open Society Foundation, but it's one of these other shell organizations. There's so many of these NGOs out there filtering billions and billions of dollars into these activist movements. Guys like Bill Gates, George Soros. Check this out. While UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and world leaders gather in Paris for the climate summit, this is 2015, the most challenging question is how find the trillions needed to save the world's climate. They couldn't even pen a correct sentence on this dumbed-down climate activist website. They forgot the word to. How to find. Help comes from the least expected place. The heirs of oil magnate John D. Rockefeller are determined to end the oil age, and they are hitting the industry which made them rich and powerful and caused global warming at its core. The announcement of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the embodiment of oil wealth and power, to divest from fossil fuel made global headlines in 2014. Since then, the total capital managed by institutions and individuals committed to divest assets increased from $50 billion to $3.4 trillion. A staggering amount, which comes close to the GDP of Germany. This announcement was made Wednesday by Bill McKibben, the founder of 350.org and Divest Invest, at a press conference in Paris. 350.org. A big player in this. All right, you also got the Merck Family Fund, the Rockefeller Foundation, Packard Foundation, Michelin Corporation Foundation, Ford Foundation, Boeing Company, Bloomberg Philanthropies, David Rockefeller Fund, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Family Fund, and Wells Fargo. Ribeye, chase the chicken out. Go. Get it. Get it. Get it. Sorry, chickens are coming in the house and Ribeye's got you. You guys want to see Ribeye? You guys want... Come here. We've got a Ribeye update. Look at Ribeye. I remember one of these streams, I think I was talking to Jay. I remember him being the size of his head. Now, he's such a big boy. He's so big. Ribeye. Look at that boy. He's so good. He's so good. Good job, Ribeye. But that's who's funding this, guys. Look at these super chats. What's up, guys? All right. Let me see. Let me back up here. Garland Farms, he started a cascade of awesome super chats. Thanks for the support, guys. I want to reiterate how much this really does help. You know, the demonetization, the hiding in the algorithm. These things do affect us, and it makes it pretty hard to to spend a lot of time with this. But you know what? The fact that we get so much support from you guys, so much love from you guys, and all those generous donations that people have made via PayPal over the last few months, which there's a link down in the description. If you do want to donate via PayPal, if you want to support what we do here, it does help, and it is much appreciated. Judas Romo says, I'm one-upping Garland. Right on, Judas. I know you sent one earlier, too. Joshua Webb, what's up, dude? Sending $10. Thanks a lot. Badger Wise. Badger. Dude, that's funny. Ryder, our son, he plays Badger. He likes to pretend that he's a badger. He's like, I'm a mean badger. He starts trying to bite me and stuff, so we always play Badger. So I like the name. It reminds me of my son. Let's see here. All right, that's the end. Pitbull mom. Yeah. No, I see. In order to fight the climate crisis, I've given up my kids I gave my kids to the IMF. I mean, as collateral, as part of collateral for the loan that Ecuador's taken, and I've become a pit bull mom. so yeah. All right. So we got the Merck Family Fund, Rockefeller, Packard Foundation, InsidePhilanthropy.com. Climate change. Funders. Climate change is a growing major focus for many foundations through local, regional, national, and global support. Competition for such grants is intense, so applicants' projects must add value in a crowded field or take a new approach to climate change. Blah, 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 blah. So, funders, 11th Hour Project. The 11th Hour Project, this was kind of connected with Greta in many ways. They were saying, the 11th hour, the time is up. We're out of time. We're running out of time is what Greta Thunberg's startup, I think it was actually called We're Running Out of Time. So anyways, the Alcoa Foundation, Annenberg Foundation. Look at all these foundations. Bloomberg Philanthropies. Boeing Company. Boeing is going to save the world, guys. Right? BP is going to save the world. Bullet Foundation, Caldera Foundation, the Children's Investment Fund. This company, or not company, but this fund, this shell game philanthropy scam, actually was heavily involved in the pushing of the Eat Lancet Commission, which was all about a plant-based diet. All about a plant-based diet that is being pushed as a way to save the planet and actually save our health, right? They tell you that saturated fat, that heart disease is caused by clogging your arteries because you're eating all that saturated fat, which is absolute bullshit. And then they tell you through groups like the Eat Lancet Committee that you need to eat a plant-based diet of kibble, of fortified kibble. Don't worry, it'll be fortified with nutrients, like Bill Gates does in Africa, for the people that he has growing GMO corn so that it can be sold to these UK activists. They tell you that your animal foods are creating heart disease, which is actually nonsense. Right. In fact, we've decreased our amount of saturated fat that we've been eating over the last 30, 40 years dramatically, and increased the amount of polyunsaturated fats that we're eating, vegetable oils, which are actually the cause of heart disease, of massive inflammation in the body. And when they do find a lot of plaque in the arteries, you know what they find? Loads of omega-6 in there as well. So Jay Dyer, thanks for the super chat. Dude says, what's the actual source of heart disease and clogging of arteries? Sugar and processed sugar? It's probably not even actually sugar. All right, now, all right, so this is a nuanced thing, right? Thank you so much for asking. Thanks for the super chat, dude. I'm honored. I love getting super chats from like I'm like a fanboy, right? Get super chats from my favorite YouTube channels. Garland Farms, Jay Dyer, throwing out the super chats. Thanks, guys. They tell you that saturated fat clogs your arteries, which is absolutely not true. Cholesterol is a very, very important thing that your body makes. Your body's constantly producing cholesterol. Every cell in your body is made out of cholesterol. Your brain is full of cholesterol, right? All our cell membranes have cholesterol. We need cholesterol to make testosterone. You need testosterone to actually feel human, right? Especially if you're a male, you have too low testosterone, you're gonna feel like shit. Right? So you need it to make sex steroid hormones. It's actually it's a potent antioxidant, cholesterol. And it's very, very important when you have infections and when you're repairing damage. Now, when our arteries get damaged, cholesterol goes in there and stops these leaky little spots that get ruptured, that get damaged. The cholesterol goes in there and kind of covers it like a bandage. Right? So just because the cholesterol is actually there in the arteries doesn't mean that it's actually the problem. What we do know is that inflammation, high insulin levels, insulin resistance, which are driven by polyunsaturated fatty acids like vegetable oils and seed oils, and exacerbated by inflammatory foods like a lot of grains, right? Refined grains, stuff like that. That doesn't mean all grains are bad. Maybe some properly prepared grains in some contexts can be fine. I'm not against all glucose-based foods. That doesn't mean that all glucose is bad, but a lot of these grains can cause inflammation in the body, and there are many inflammatory processes that can be triggered by improper food choices, like these refined vegetable oils and whatnot. So avoid the vegetable oils if you want to avoid heart disease. Decreasing saturated fat does not decrease your chances of getting heart disease. In fact, low cholesterol is associated with higher all-cause mortality, and also meaning you die more from all causes. High cholesterol is very, very highly associated with lower all-cause mortality. So if you have high cholesterol, you tend to die less from other causes. Low cholesterol is an indicator. 10 to 15 years ahead of time, low cholesterol, very low cholesterol, can be an indicator of cancers. Right? So as these people are telling you to lower your cholesterol and that cholesterol is bad, and you start to look into this, you realize that centenarians, people who live over 100, all have high cholesterol. That the oldest living populations in Japan have high cholesterol and eat loads of animal foods. They tell you the exact opposite. It's really twisted. Do not restart now. Wait. Okay. I guess I need to update Windows. So, yeah. So there you go. Sugar, processed sugar, are probably not actually the problem, though insulin resistance seems to play a part, right? So insulin resistance doesn't mean sugar is bad. Insulin resistance can actually be created by combining too many polyunsaturated fats with sugar, right? People actually get insulin sensitive using things other than keto, right? Keto is a really great way of getting insulin sensitive. But you can also become insulin sensitive through a high carb, low fat diet, which is interesting as well. So there's a lot of nuance here. I actually don't believe that sugar is inherently the problem. Refined sugar can be an issue for a lot of people, all this refined junk food that we're eating. But the worst thing that's in these industrial foods that we eat is not the sugar. The worst thing that's in these industrial foods that we eat is the vegetable oil. And a lot of these these chemical additives like preservatives and stuff are pretty shitty too. So it's funny, our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they were also eating sugar. 100 years ago, people still had sugar. The heart disease rates were not like they are now. This huge epidemic of heart disease has just gone nuts after the introduction of the refined vegetable oils. Crazy, huh? The anti-vegan, what's up? Thank you so much. The anti-vegan, I'm gonna have her on the show sometime soon. She's got a cool story, and we've got a funny history together. She got mad at me one time on Instagram, and then we made up. But yeah, she's real cool. The anti-vegan. Check out her channel. Check out her Instagram too. A lot of these people, we come out of this vegan nonsense, and you realize, oh my goodness, this is destroying people. This is terrible. So it's cool to see the anti-vegan out there. Mark's Tish, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Says, did you see the Dr. John Bergman lecture on YouTube about mandating everyone to get the flu shot within the next 5 years? No, I didn't, but I mean, it's just another example, right? These people want to control everything that you put in your body. And these flu shots are even known to be ineffective, and they're known to cause abortions in pregnant women. Yet they tell pregnant women to take them. Garland Farms, what's up, dude? A lesser known but potentially the most powerful dark side organization was created by the British Crown called the Fabian Society. Yeah, the Fabian Society, that's one group. That's just one group, right? You got the Royal Institute for International Affairs, Council on Foreign Relations, the Fabian Society. What binds all of these groups together are their central dogmas, which, I would recommend. Check out Jay's recent stream, The 10 Commandments of Globalism. He talks about all the central dogmas of globalism, which all come down to the consolidation of resources and power, which all come down to a global government, of course, and several other things like depopulation. Right? Depopulation, also another central dogma of the international elite. So, all right. So back to some of these other foundations that support the climate change agenda. The Ford Foundation, the Frankel Family Foundation. Look at this. I mean, it's everything. Heinz Endowments. Heinz. Hewlett Foundation. Let's come down here to the Rockefellers. Kresge Foundation. I think Kresge Foundation is a funny one because I went to University of California, Santa Cruz, and Kresge is a college within there. So that's pretty cool. Oh, nice. You posted part 2 for subs. That's good to know, Jay. Did you send out an email? I didn't get an email telling me that there was part 2 out. All right, what else do we have here? MacArthur Foundation, who also run the World Resources Institute, the Merck Family Fund. The Merck Family Fund focuses its climate change grant making on reducing CO2 emissions through the promotion and implementation of energy efficiency policies and carbon pricing mechanisms. Crazy, right? The Merck family, big pharma, big ag, big industry, big oil. That's who's funding this. Michelin Corporate Foundation. Packard Foundation. Let's come down here. Look at all the Rockefeller Fund. Look, David Rockefeller Fund, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Family Fund, Rockefeller Foundation, Sherman Foundation. And it goes on and on and on. Wells Fargo. So you guys, the big banks, they just want to save the planet. The big banks, they just want to save the planet, right? Jay says, bruh, free markets though, you're Marxist. Dude, how crazy, how annoying is it? Somebody in a chat the other day was like, Tristan's obviously a communist because he bans people who disagree with him. Right? It's like these people, they come in the chat, they start name calling and shitting on me and trying to spread misinformation, and I ban them, and oh, you're a communist now. Okay, so yeah, if you really look at it, the big world threat, right? Like these right-wing people, they'll say it's communism. The communists are coming to get you, right? And that gets used as a fake threat in the West. The Cold War, the whole Cold War dialectic. These communist dictatorships were bankrolled by the big Western banks. Why did Rockefeller go to China to set up Chase Manhattan Bank there? Why did he praise the Maoist revolution? Who funded the Bolshevik revolution? Who bankrolled that? Who sent a ship full of gold with Trotsky to start the Bolshevik revolution? The big Western banks are not communist, guys. They're not commies. The problem is not communism. It's so funny seeing with all this stuff that goes on in Latin America, right? Latin American politics are a really interesting window for me because it turns a lot of assumptions that I would have previously had coming from kind of like the libertarian leaning stuff. Like, when you first get into some of this stuff, you realize what's going on. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to be libertarian, right? We need to defend the Constitution and free markets will get us out of this. Dude, the free markets are what got us into this, right? Like Greta says, and your dreams of eternal economic growth. Eternal economic growth. It's like she actually is onto something there, but she's talking on behalf of those very bankers from this global free market monopoly capitalist system that actually leverage and use communist dictatorships as well. And Marx even said that monopoly capitalism is the vehicle that's going to bring about the global revolution. But it's funny watching in Latin America how things go down, right? Because you have the Western narrative of free markets, right? We gotta privatize everything. We gotta have free markets. And then as soon as one of these countries wants to nationalize its resources, right? Like they did in Libya. As soon as one of these countries wants to start using their natural resources to implement social programs and stuff, these CIA MK Ultra dupe boomers from the US are like, oh, my freedoms. That's communism. That's the communism. We got to give all those resources to Chevron. Right? It's this fake ass dialectic where they've bunched up any economic policies into these fake groupings of either communism or capitalism. It's a completely false dialectic. It's just so funny to see this all play out. Communism, capitalism is two sides of the same coin, says somebody. Yeah, kind of, right? You want free market? Now sign on to debt and abortions and vax. Exactly. Right? The fake Cold War. They have all these boomers in the U.S. talking about all those dang communists in Venezuela. Right? I mean, it's these really dumbed down, simplistic narratives where, I don't know, it's really subversive. So, the free market is going to save the world from evil capitalism, right? The big global capitalists are going to save you from the evil capitalism. These animal rebellion people are out there fighting in the streets. They think that they're some sort of revolutionaries when the World Bank are funding them. So, Sebastian says, you could learn and teach something at Anarchapulco 2020. Love your point so far. First time viewer. Right on, dude. You know, I definitely, this is the thing, like Anarchapulco and stuff like that. It might be cool to go to one of these conferences, but the thing is, I'm not a libertarian, dude. Like, there's just as many problems. Like, libertarianism is just as bad as communist dictatorships. In fact, libertarianism is a vehicle that Marx saw for creating these trading blocks and a global international bank. So it's funny. I think, I think it's really interesting. Yeah. Oh, dude. Right. Anarchapulco. Right. These guys like Mark Passio go. You know, I mean, there's a lot of vegans there too. So, hey, man, if they invite me, if they fly me out there, if they pay me, then I'll go. I'll go if Jay goes, so he can help keep me sane. We'll be the only ones not getting drunk and doing coke of all the freaking presenters there. And if Jay can debate Mark Passio there about his natural law. All right, pricing carbon. This is what it's all about, guys. This is what it's all about. Pricing carbon. The World Bank. New leadership forum on pricing carbon and competitiveness allowed at CPLC's third high-level assembly. Why price carbon? Climate change is one of the greatest global challenges of our time. It threatens to roll back decades of development progress and put lives, livelihoods, and economic growth at risk. Economic growth. We need more economic growth. You know what economic growth means for the country I live in, the place that I love to live? Economic growth of the Fortune 100 means neoliberal policies and IMF-backed terror regimes that are there to crush populist uprisings and take the population's resources and buy up their land resources and infrastructure dirt cheap. That's what that means. Lucas Al's House, thanks for the donation, dude. $5. Says the government ruined the capitalist systems by controlling the money and giving it to companies. Well, see, isn't it? It's kind of funny. Like, maybe Sebastian, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this. It's funny, you hear when people say you can critique communism, right? Like, obviously, look at the Soviet Union, look at the Maoist revolution, look at Pol Pot, look at all these communist dictators, look at the death, the destruction, hellfire, and the satanic fervor that sweeps through these nations when these communist uprisings happen. They're terrible. But then they say, oh, they didn't do communism right. That wasn't real communism. They didn't reach real communism. That was just kind of socialism that turned into a dictatorship, and they were still too corrupted by capitalism. That's why it's wrong. And then you talk to some of the libertarians, right? Like, you know, look, man, 2008, I thought the Ron Paul thing was great. I thought we were going to get our guy in, right? And then I saw what really goes on, right? Not that Ron Paul is actually promoting, really solid. I mean, the gold standard, who owns all the gold? Who owns all the gold? Who has the means to take more gold out of the ground, right? I'm not a big fan of that whole paradigm right now either, but it's funny how the free market people, the libertarians, will say, my freedom. The government took my freedom. It's not a real free market. That's not a real free market. It's like Jay's making a really good point here. It's a point that I've heard Jay make before, and a point I've made before too. There's nothing in capitalism that says it's wrong to just buy off governments to shut down competition. Libertarianism is low IQ. I gotta agree, man. It's like the libertarianism is globalism. It is. Libertarianism is the IMF destabilizing nations in Latin America so that they can destroy their infrastructure, take their infrastructure, hijack it, and take all of their resources. That is libertarianism. Sofwave says libertarianism sounds good until you think about it for more than 10 minutes. So this is the thing. The fake dialectic, capitalism versus communism, both of them have flaws, major flaws. Look, you start talking about real stuff and the viewership goes down. We had like 310 people when we were talking about vegan trolls. Then we start talking about the real issues and people bounce. It's all good though. All right, so putting a price on carbon. That's also what this is all about. Who else is in on this? Sustainable development stuff? Cargill, Unilever, Merck, Bayer Monsanto, Google, Walmart, and others. All in partnerships for decarbonization, carbon pricing, regulatory change and enforcement through our continued support for trade associations. The World Business Council for Sustainable Development. That's who's pushing this, guys. All right. I've been talking a little while here. Let me jump over here to the chat. Or maybe we should watch some funny vegan videos. You guys got any good vegan videos we should watch? I kind of want to watch my own video. the I am vegan now. I got 2 videos that I put out recently that I really want you guys to check out. The first one, I am vegan now. We all must do this. That one, very good. The one before that's pretty funny too. But that video, really good. And then also why I joined the vegan revolution and animal rebellion in London. All right. Let me come over here to the chat and see what's going on. What's up, everybody? Thanks for all the generous super chats. You guys are making this an awesome stream so far. Lots of interesting conversations in the stream. There we go. Yeah, we had an interesting stream so far. I've seen some funny arguments in there. I've seen some actually people promoting Satanism and saying Satanism's great. There, I mean, it's just sad how duped we get, right? It's sad how duped people can get. You get so duped into believing the most bestial philosophies, and it's really sad. But c'est la vie. C'est la vie. So it's an interesting time to be alive. The last couple of weeks have been pretty crazy here in Ecuador. We had the whole country shut down for about 12 days as the people demanded that, well, first they demanded that the austerity measures that the IMF told their president to dole out to them, they demanded that those be revoked. He refused. He said, I'm in charge. They actually elected him on the platform of being somebody who would protect the country from the IMF and protect their countries. A lot of these economic reforms that happened during the so-called pink tide of the early 2000s, some of these countries, they wanted to protect them from IMF exploitation. Doesn't mean that the previous administration was something so amazing, but a lot of the people here were really into the previous administration. The new president, he actually was the vice president in the previous administration, and he ran on the Alianza País ticket. He ran as a part of their party. As soon as he got into office, like a lot of these South American puppet governments do, he switched and went far right. And in Latin America, far right means privatization and the selling off of resources to the Fortune 100 companies, and it usually comes with bloody, brutal dictators that slaughter people. So it's it's funny, right? He was a member of the last administration, and now he's cozying up to the IMF, doing exactly what the people elected him not to do, and threatening them with the police and military, with slaughter and genocide, as a lot of the people of Ecuador completely stopped all commerce. Right? A lot of these indigenous groups actually went and took over some of these oil not refineries, but oil production, what do you call them? Oil extraction sites over in the Amazon that they were upset about. We had a really crazy couple weeks. At least 8 people have officially been recognized as being killed by police during the last 11 days of protests. This was not in the Western media at all, and the Western media is going to tell you that it's just about a fuel hike, that he took away fuel subsidies. But really, it's not what it's about. Most people here were upset about the IMF loan that he had taken and the potentiality of their country to be sold out to the IMF and to these global businesses, these global corporations. So that's what's been happening the last few years. Good old free markets coming to bring freedoms to Ecuador. And the government backed down at the last minute. It was getting really ugly. It looked like things were going to get really bad. And for some reason, the government ended up backing down. Now, there was a lot of funny reports. There were reports of some of these guys that were driving these tanks, they're armored vehicles that were being driven around, and spraying loads of, you call it gas lacrimógeno here, but it's tear gas, spraying tear gas everywhere. There were reports that the people driving those were actually speaking English. So this president, he brought in the U.S. military back to Ecuador. The U.S. military being one of the biggest narco gangs in the world. So it's a wild ride that Ecuador is probably in for the next couple years, but still a beautiful place. Regardless, it's very interesting to be in a place where people actually would actually be able to do something about it. So they shut down all the streets. They shut down the roads. They said, no, we're not going to accept your austerity measures to make fuel more expensive, which the IMF says is green. They said this is going to save the planet by making the poor people more poor. And, but it stopped. But, of course, Ecuador is a Masonic republic, right? Simon Bolivar, the Bolivarian Revolution, he was a Freemason. Right, so a lot of these places, these countries in Latin America, they are set up to have these constant revolutions. Right, that's what the republic is. The Masonic Republic is a revolutionary system. Constant revolutions. Strange times. But let's see. We got any vegan videos? You got any funny vegan videos to watch? Actually, one of my favorite, I got to make a funny mashup video of this guy, Nimai Delgado. This guy is like one of the funniest vegans. You guys want to see some vegan decadence on full display? Nimai Delgado's videos. The truth about traveling as a vegan. Santorini, Greece. Greece, who was also destroyed by IMF austerity measures. Also destroyed by the same forces that are pushing all this degeneracy. Nimai Delgado, not Jose Delgado. Not Jose Delgado, the mind control scientist who implanted microchips in bulls and remote controlled them. Nimai Delgado. Body.
Peace out, Athens. We're going to Santorini.
Thank you so much for letting us stay. We're just pretty lost, so might as well just lie down and sleep here.
That's basically what I'm thinking about doing. Shall we find a cozy spot? Mr. Shore.
Look at this. Look at this. This is where Nimai picks to sit down.
Oh, but it is Pete. So while they sit in the ground, I've decided to get myself a nice comfy seat. Okay, work time. Okay, time to go. Morning, Nimai.
Hey, what's up? So, we are on our way to Santorini. We're at the Athens airport right now. This is basically one continuation of a vlog because if you want to see the first half of it, go to Bianca's channel. And now we're heading over to Santorini. It's like 5 a.m. We're gonna get there at 6 a.m. and I don't know what we're gonna do until we check in to our Airbnb, but It's gonna
Super
be an
exciting,
adventure. Yeah.
It's gonna be an adventure, guys. I wonder what his voice sounded like before he went vegan. Because it's like when you go vegan, your voice, it's like something happens. It's like there's something about the consistency of the soy that slithers down your throat. And it just makes your voice sound so unassuming and effeminate. And we're changing the world. We're changing the world, dude. We're going to fight climate change by going vegan. Here's my vegan vlog of me traveling around by jets all around the world, as I use 10 times as many resources as all the people in the third world who I think are overpopulating the world.
So I'm so pumped about Santorini. This was like a super last second decision, but we're gonna get some epic footage, epic shots, go swimming, cliff diving, hopefully a lot of fun things. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yo, what up, millennials? This Nimai Delgado here. Here's another day of being a self-indulgent millennial. Join me as I travel around unnecessarily and pretend to have fun while constantly staring at my smartphone and taking selfies of myself. We're going to Greece, you guys. We're going to go fly across the planet, but don't worry. We're going to use vegan food to save the planet. And I'm a vegan vlogger. So while I use these high-tech devices that are made from minerals extracted from mines deep in the heart of Africa and South America, as I use up all these valuable resources for my super expensive lifestyle, don't worry, I'm spreading the revolution of veganism and we're gonna save the planet.
Look at Andrew's reaction when he sees me. So tired right now. We've been up for so long.
Vegan vlogs. Vegan vlogs are just about you watching vegans pretend not to be bored and depressed. Like, hey guys, I just woke up and before I even do anything, I just really wanted to put my makeup on and then talk to the camera. Like, I just got out of bed and I just really wanted to talk to you guys all about how to be the best version of yourself. Like, you guys are gods, we're gods. Like, I'm a god and you're a god and am I god? We're all gods. And it's just like, we can do anything. And if we just come together to save the planet and we all start vlogging every day, then we can all make a better world.
Very short flight. It was a bit terrifying in the middle of it. Some pretty hard turbulence, but we made it. We're here. Now we got some time to kill.
It's black outside.
Super stoked. We're gonna have a good time.
We're gonna have a good time. I'm not completely empty and truly vacant inside.
Okay, what have we done, Nimai?
Nothing. We haven't done anything for 3 hours because it's rain.
We're still doing nothing in our vlog. Don't worry. We're still doing nothing.
We're at the airport. We can't check in until 9. And it's the first time it's rained in 7 months here.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump forward.
And the stuffed tomatoes and also the chips, french fries. And that's it. Yeah, just gonna... bread? Yes, please.
Yes, bread would be great.
So now we're going to stop and we're going to eat a vegan meal of all sides. We're going to eat all side dishes because that's how you save the world. We flew here to Greece and we're vlogging, and check it out. My water from a plastic bottle, and look, I'm going to eat sides and just bread. All of this stuff is imported, and all of this stuff has been imported from halfway around the world, and all of this stuff has been grown by some of the extra people in the third world who we need to get rid of.
Okay, so this is a seafood restaurant, so this is all that was vegan. Just some bread and oil. We normally don't eat oil, but today we're going to eat oil because I got a feeling that it's going to be hard to get vegan calories while we're in Santorini.
It's all the nutrients we have.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. I mean, who doesn't like oil? Olive oil tastes amazing.
Is this real life Nimai having chips part 2?
Fresh gourmet Greek potato slices. This is a fresh gourmet Greek bread. This is the vegan options that we could find at this very not vegan restaurant. We've got some classic.
All right. I can't watch any more of this. This is completely boring. Right? But this is the life that gets marketed to us, right? Hey guys, I just found the perfect lighting in this room to make me look like not dying, and I feel so amazing today. I just got out of bed and took 3 shits, and I'm about to make my vegan smoothie and then just like think about how to take the perfect selfie for like an hour, and then I'm gonna go work out, and then I'm gonna eat a vegan meal. I'm gonna vlog it all, you guys. It's amazing. Look at the chat. What's up, everybody? You know, it's funny. Somebody in the chat, now I'm going to address this because this gets really fucking annoying. He says, you sound like Frank Tufano imitating vegans. First of all, if you're dumb enough to listen to little Frankie Frufano, to little Flanky the banana girl, I feel freaking sorry for you. And if you're dumb enough not to realize that I've been doing this for a long damn time making fun of these vegans, the little Flanky girl didn't come on here and start imitating my shit until after he actually came on my channel, and now he openly shits on everybody in the whole carnivore world. Don't bring up that little soy boy retard in this chat, all right? Don't bring up his name. Because I'm sick of that guy ripping my shit off. I'm sick of that guy doing his shitty impersonation of my content and pretending like he invented all this shit, right? Fuck off of that. Go watch my streams 2 years ago. Been doing this shit a long time, right? And this shit's actually entertaining. Fucking anybody who's going to bring up that little moron in here might just get bounced from the chat. Because, yes, I get triggered, right? Yeah. No, it's like sometimes I wonder if Flanky the banana girl isn't actually a closet vegan here to discredit everything we do, right? Imagine still being subbed to Frank Pufanos or something exactly. After all the stupid things Flanky the banana girl has said, imagine still thinking that that guy is a legitimate source of information on anything. I love how he's out there now making everything I've ever said sound corny and gay as fuck. Flanky Fufano, Flanky the banana girl. Last clip I saw of him, he was out there saying, "Oh, this the whole vegan thing. Like this is it's like a new world order thing, and there's new world order or something, and I'm the only one out here talking about this, right?" Here. I'm not going to go any further. But that guy is a fucking moron. And please, don't come on here and hype up little Frankie the banana girl. Von Dalzel says, at least Frankie is a delusional Christian. Delusional Christian. Okay. We got an enlightened atheist in the chat, guys. Ooh. We got an enlightened atheist in the chat. Flanky the banana girl fans. No, but I do appreciate his gym videos. I want to see more of his gym videos. Bro, why you rip off that shit YouTuber? Jay. Oh, man. Dude, I literally eat because of him. Yeah, no. Everybody in this chat knows what's really going on, right? People who've been watching this channel for a long time really know what's up. I didn't think I would have to address it, but I'm getting sick of it. And the last clip I saw where he tried to say, "Oh yeah, this vegan thing, it's like New World Order." Like, dude, please stop. Please stop. If you're not out there, trying to discredit everything I do, if you're not a secret closet vegan shill, trying to shit on everything we do here and make everything we do look like shit, then I would be so surprised. Stephanie Kraft, it's disappointing hearing you rip on Frank. Shut up. Get out of here. Get out of here if you have a problem. You respect him. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Come back here when you grow half a brain. All right. So, anyways, now that that's been addressed, now that closet vegan infiltrator, vegan double agent, Flanky the banana girl has been addressed, let's move on. All right, what else has everyone been doing? What else is new out there, guys? Who's hitting that thumbs up? Who's hitting that thumbs up? Dude, don't swing right, bro. We were all on the same side, bro. Swing right. Don't punch right. Don't punch left. We're all on the same side. No, dude, we're all not on the same side. That's what you don't understand. We're on the side of the truth here. We're on the side of reality. We're on the side of people who have social skills. We're on the side of people who can actually do good for spreading this word, not on the side of people who make all this shit look kooky and stupid. Right? Let's get out of here. All right. Yeah, get out of here. We don't want you here. I don't care. I don't care. You think I care? Look, I'm here to spread the truth. I'm here to talk about what's real. And I'm cool. Look, if people want to go out there and bite my shit, it's all good, man. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. But just because somebody eats meat doesn't mean they're on your side, right? There are loads of degenerates out there spreading this stuff. Look at Spherage promoting drinking blood, right? Fwanky the Banana Girl promoting body dysmorphia, constantly misdiagnosing himself for his health issues that probably stem from his schizophrenia or his manic depression. Constantly blaming it on all these other things, misdiagnosing himself, jumping on all these new weird bandwagons of what he thinks is destroying his health, right? Constantly shitting on the people that he rips off all his content from, right? My favorite was when Fwanky the Banana Girl started directly imitating Dr. Berg when he got a blue shirt. Oh, dude, I also like when Fwanky the Banana Girl went and bought the exact shirts that I wear to try. That was funny too, but it is what it is. So anyways, guys, we're all about what's true. We're all about what's real. We're all about eating meat and making families. We're not about this degeneracy. We're not about pushing nonsense. We're not about all that. We're all about what's real and what's good. We're not all about a bunch of plastic surgery having, unnecessary jaw surgery having, body dysmorphic, googly-eyed goofballs making us look stupid. We don't associate with these idiots. Eduardo Villegas says, comments on the situation in Ecuador. I always thought you had a broader understanding of things. I'm with you 100%. I was vegetarian for 20 years. Eating very little animal food. Right on, man. You know, I think the thing in Ecuador, I didn't address it well enough. I had a lot of, I've actually got a whole archive of videos. It'd be the situation in Ecuador would best be addressed in a conversation that's not just one way, right? When I come up here and it's just me talking, yeah, it can be fun. Yeah, I can make some jokes. Yeah, I can make fun of vegans. Yeah, I can shit on Fwanky the Banana Girl and these other degenerates out there. And it's funny and it's entertaining and whatnot. But the Ecuador thing, it's a really serious issue, and it's a conversation that would be fun to have with, I don't know, maybe somebody like Jay. Maybe Jay and I could do a stream and talk about some of this stuff. But yeah, the Ecuador situation is crazy. The whole... you know, the austerity, the global austerity measures. Yeah, Jay says, do it with me. Let's do it. We were going to maybe do a stream last night, but I wasn't feeling well. I'm still a little bit off today. But you know, I'm getting a little bit better. A little change of weather here. I had 11 days of actually, it was pretty stressful, right? Like I was watching really crazy, violent things happening in the place I live. Not right in front of me, right? Because we don't live near the big cities or the capital. Where we live is real peaceful, but it built up, and it was really, really kind of stressful to be around, and pretty upsetting, especially considering we had about 10 years of peace here. You know, I mean, Ecuador was protecting Assange. They had Julian Assange in the embassy for the last I don't know, 7-8 years. And then this administration change has brought a lot of stressful changes to this country, where there's a lot of really good, beautiful people who. I know it's my home, so, you know, the people out there, some of these neo-pagan types talking about, well, why'd you leave America? Why'd you leave your own? I have no affinity with America, guys. I don't think you know if you understand, like, what the United States of America is not, like, nobody who lives there, there's no culture, right? There's no culture there. So, like, people talking about, oh, why'd you leave America? You're a traitor. Knock it off, guys. I see you out there. I hear what you're saying, but most of you have never lived anywhere outside the U.S. You don't understand. There are other places in the world, I'm not into the your neo-pagan stuff. I like where we live, right? It's a beautiful place, and it's a shame to see it potentially be robbed and try to turn back into a banana republic after it's had a few years of relative peace. And a lot of people here are really good people. Look at all these triggered pussies in the chat. Are you kidding me? I'm just a dumb degenerate piece. Okay, if that's what you want to take it, I don't know what you're offended by, but if that's how triggered you are, great. Get out. Get out. If you're triggered, a little pussies in the chat, bounce. Bounce. All right, review Tesco UK, new anti-meat ad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's go to that. The Tesco anti-meat ad. All right, here's the Tesco anti-meat ad. Well,
everybody, this is Klaus from Plant-Based News. There's been a very controversial video that's come out, and it's about meat, and I thought it was really amazing. I thought it was really good. It was talking all about not eating meat anymore, and a little girl was brainwashed in her school not to eat meat, and her father, who's a total cuck, just listened to his daughter and is programmed by the daughter and started feeding her soylent foods instead. And I think it's amazing and just so great. And I work for Prince bin al-Walid bin Talal, who is one of the richest men in the world, and he funds and owns my YouTube channel, and I have no problem completely selling out all of my integrity in order to promote plant-based diets and plant-based news.
Everybody, this is Klaus from Plant-Based News. So, new supermarket ad has recently come out. And
supermarket ad.
Let's go to the ad.
It's caused a little bit of a stir.
So, Chloe walks in from school.
Daddy,
she says,
I don't want to eat animals anymore.
So I asked my wife's boyfriend if it's okay if I let my daughter go vegan. And he told me, yes, it's okay, but you have to sleep outside tonight.
I blooming love my meat, but not as much as I love my little girl. That's why we've made some changes to our old favourite, sausage casserole a la Carl. Now with meat-free Cumberlands, but still with my magic touch, cumin, coriander, and a dollop of mango chutney.
Still with my manly touch, you know. And my wife, she's out there working. I'm a stay-at-home dad. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But you know, I stay here with my wife's boyfriend. He doesn't work at all. He just kind of hangs around on the couch and plays Call of Duty all day. And I'll put my magic touch on my meal here. I'll feed it to my baby. And there's no meat in it. And because she wants it, well, dang on me, I'm gonna give it to her.
Just as tasty as it used to be.
Better, actually.
Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco.
Now, I didn't really think that was controversial, but...
Okay, such a short ad, but look how... All right. His all-change casserole. So the chick comes down from school. The father's... He's not working. He's not, like, doing anything, right? Where's the mom? Is he a single dad? The mom's out working, right? We don't know, right? So... he's, I don't know, maybe hanging out with his wife's boyfriend, playing video games, waits for the kid to come home. The kid comes home, and this is what happens.
So, Chloe walks in from school.
Daddy,
she says,
I don't want to eat animals anymore.
I blooming love my meat, but not as much as I love...
Oh, but I love my meat. Oh, but I kind of love my meat. But, hey, not as much as I love my daughter. Oh, my daughter, I just really love this little girl, and whatever she says, she gets.
What's up, Ryder? What's up, Daisy? What's up, guys? My family just got home. Sorry, I'm going to ask my wife's boyfriend if I'm allowed to touch my kids. What's up? What are you doing? What's up? I'm just talking alone to a computer. Making jokes. So, yeah. And his little daughter, who's like, you know, looks very, very different from him. Right? I'm not sure what's going on here, but it doesn't look like this dude's the father. Right?
That's why we've made some changes to our old favourite, sausage casserole a la Carl. Now with meat-free Cumberlands, but still with my magic touch, cumin, coriander, and a dollop of mango chutney.
A dollop of mango chutney. Cumin, coriander.
Right. All right. So this is a pretty deeply subversive ad. Right, all right. The single dad, the man's the one who prepares the food. The woman's nowhere to be seen. Who knows? Maybe single, probably, you know, either divorced maybe raising someone else's kid, right? Doesn't even look like the father. Girl comes home and says, Daddy, I don't want to eat meat anymore. And he's on board. No questions asked, right? Daddy's on board. Hey, little girl, you get what you want. You tell your daddy what you want and you're going to get it, right? So, and then he makes a little mango chutney with all my kibble. My daughter came home and she said, Daddy, I want you to sterilize yourself. And I want mommy to get an abortion in the 3rd trimester. And he said, all right, let's do it, girl. Let's do it. Let's go over to the Reproductive Health Services tent down the street, get a quick abortion, come home, eat some mango chutney.
Just as tasty as it used to be.
Better, actually.
Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco.
Food Love Stories brought to you by Tesco. Tesco is like the biggest grocery market in the UK, right? All of these products that they sell there are these mass-produced big ag products. And of course, big ag is pushing this agenda through children, right? So you got Greta Thunberg out there. G-Dub, 1998. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your Beyond Meat? How can you have any pudding if you don't eat Beyond Meat? Thanks for the donation, dude. Thanks to everybody for the super chats. You guys really do make these streams what they are. And you guys say hilarious stuff. Sometimes just reading your comments. This is funnier than any shit I can come up with. Yeah, so this Tesco meat ad, father doesn't even look like the kid at all. Gets told, I want to be a vegan now, Daddy-o. I don't want to eat animals because I like animals, and my teacher at school said if we stop eating meat and tell Mommy and Daddy to stop eating meat, then we can save the planet, Daddy. And he's down, right? But it's funny. This is perfectly tailored towards the broken down, cucked British male population, right? It's pretty crazy. Especially now that they're educating the children into this stuff, right? They tell them in the schools, they're radicalizing them in the schools to think that it's bad to eat meat, to think that you're going to save the planet by going vegan, right? You have a lot of these UK schools that are actually making meatless Mondays, not just meatless Mondays, but a lot of them are going meat-free in their cafeterias. Now, some of these universities pulling meat from the menu. Very, very subversive.
I didn't really think that was controversial, but what's really interesting about this is the National Farmers Union in the UK have watched it and they've objected to it. They've written to Tesco, the supermarket that put the advert out, and said to them that it demonises meat. But what do you think? Please let me know down below and subscribe for more.
I wish I should have had the robotic voice thing pulled up so I could just. Sometimes I just want to hear after these vegans give their explanations. What's up? Did somebody call me? Come here, Ryder. Come here. No. Where are you going? Okay. All right. So I forget what I was gonna say. What's up? What's up? You want attention? Oh, look how big Ariana is now. Look how big you see yourself on the. There.
Uh-huh.
You see yourself right here? There's something in there. You see?
No.
A tickle's in there. A tickle's in there. Do you want to go vegan?
No!
Do you want to stop eating meat to save the planet?
No, never!
Do you know that reproductive health services are a human right?
Nope.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Rebecca. He doesn't want to stop eating meat.
All right. Well, hello, guys. Got some super chats. Richard Kerr, thanks, dude. Send in 10. Was that Australians? Is A Australian? I don't know. Thanks, Richard Kerr says, best laugh I've had in years, mate. Thank you. All right. The mate tells me it was probably Australia. Judas says, how do you feel about eugenics? Well, we talked about the eugenics movement quite a bit here. When you look at the green movement, when you look at the climate change movement, this is an extension of the ideology, the beliefs, and of the big money that was behind the eugenics movement. So it's, yeah, I mean, if you look at, check out Clubbing for the Climate, the talk I did with Jay Dyer. That was a good episode. That's a good one. So yeah, eugenics is for real, yo. In my ex-communist country, all the population was forced vegan, vegetarian, where a 30 years old guy looked 50. What is that? Nobody, everyone was forced vegan, vegetarian? What are you talking about? You talking about starvation? You talking about like the kulaks? I mean, yeah, vegan, vegetarian is forced starvation. And it is eugenics. Right? The vegan and vegetarian diet seeks to make meat the most important food for the development of our central nervous system, the most important food for the development of a fetus in utero. You know, fetuses, human babies that are, you know, alive inside the womb. Those things need animal foods. So if you force everybody on a vegan diet, unfortunately, it does put us on a track towards the elimination of a big portion of the population who can't afford animal foods. Right? They want to make animal foods more and more expensive. The Mega Mama says, that's a great name, the Mega Mama. Mega Mama 499 says, thanks for the information you put out there. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the donation. Really appreciate all you guys hanging out here, even the ones who are triggered, right? Notice I didn't even ban most of you who are triggered. You guys tripping out in there in the chat, crying about me making fun of Flanky the Banana Girl, crying about me making fun of whoever it is I made fun of. Can't even keep track of these days, all the people that get made fun of, all the easy targets that get made fun of out there. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys, even the ones who come in here and say all sorts of silly stuff that I disagree with. But you vegan trolls, you'll get banned. All you mega mamas out there, big shout out to all the moms. I'm a really big fan of real women, right? Real women who raise children, real women who support their local communities, real women who actually do things in the real world. Not like these little fake-ass vloggers, van lifers, and all these empty-headed, fake-ass women you see on the YouTubes, right? Keep doing what you do, mamas out there. Real women are few and far between these days, aren't they? Sad. All right. Let's finish Klaus's. Oh, that's it. That's it. All right, that was the Tesco meat one. I don't know who Shadow Starshine is, whoever just asked that. But I've been going for a couple hours now. Kids are here. Family's home. Getting hungry. Time to start wrapping this up, guys. It's been nice talking. If there's any more super chats on anything y'all want to hit on at the end, they're all in church, the real women. There you go, Laura. There you go. You know, and shout out to some of the people. I've gotten a few really, really cool private messages lately from people who've found orthodoxy through listening to some of the chats that Jay and I have had, where, you know, I'm learning a lot about this as well. And I just I want to thank everybody out there who's kept me up to date on some of the ways that you've, you know, benefited from some of the work we do here. It does help. It helps to make it. I don't know. It really helps me sometimes because I get so bogged down dealing with all these trolls, all these haters, all these imitators, right? Constant haters, imitators, and trolls out there that sometimes distract me. And I love hearing these stories about people taking their health back, people getting their life back in line, and really, really appreciate the support from all you guys in the audience. So thank you for all the super chats. Thanks to all the wrenches up in the chat. Thanks to everybody for keeping this stream interesting. And remember, you're way more than what you eat.